There we go. All right, fine.
There were dancing mustaches.
Dancing mustaches and Kevin's 10-minute answer of
And
yes.
Jessica's OnlyFans
Yeah,
page.
yeah. Jessica's OnlyFans.
Listen, I don't understand why that's happening because none of my hashtags would warrant any comments from
Have you seen the
OnlyFans.
guy who's asking you to smoke a cigar with him?
On
Yeah,
today's
I didn't
picture,
respond to that.
Did you
Yeah.
see his? Did you check his page out?
I clicked on it for a second.
There's videos
We
of
watched
him
it.
smoking cigars and really smoking the shit out
Wow.
of a cigar.
Yeah.
it was. He was
It was-
enjoying it.
It was intense.
God love
Yeah.
him. God love him.
Big old
There-
ring
there's-
gauge.
God love him.
Ooh,
There's
yeah.
there's a guy
I
on.
saw one picture where I was like, "Ooh, that cigar's very big."
Yep,
Yeah.
that was the video. The video, it followed that.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
Tobacco dildo.
There's
I
Hashtag.
just don't respond to stuff like that. Like some other guy asked me if I smoke cigars while in bed on a post, and I didn't engage. I didn't answer, and I'm like, well, first off, like, it's none of your business, and like that's just don't ask those things.
Kevin,
Yeah.
do you ever like answer? Like, if you see a comment like that, do you ever
I let
kind of?
I let it go. Yeah. If she's not going to engage it, neither am I. You know.
No, there's been a few times where people have like, private messaged me directly,
Yeah.
and I'll show him, and he's like, "What the hell?" And we laugh
Yeah.
because some of the stuff is absurd.
Yeah, there's a
Like-
guy on Facebook. There's a whole page dedicated to him, and I can't remember his name offhand. But he just sends. He's like, I would like to smoke your, or I'd like to light your cigar, and then
I
he's
got those.
and then he starts
Yeah.
talking about his butthole and stuff.
Ew.
And then,
So wait. Oh, for
That's the
men?
guy who's like, yeah, he's like, I would like to suck your cock while lighting your cigar, and I'm like,
yeah.
how's that gonna happen? Like, how are you gonna see? Someone's gonna get burned. It's not gonna be cool.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be pretty.
Yeah. Kerr's not saying no.
I'm not
Kerr's
saying
like,
no.
I'm gonna need some more info.
I need to
about
know
how
the
he's gonna do
logistics.
this, 'cause I'm not picturing it, guy.
I'm not saying no, but for future reference, how you doing that? You got a mirror?
Yeah.
Like, is
Yeah,
there?
the I think the most consistent thing I get is, can you video chat me live while you smoke a cigar right now? Like, show me what you're wearing right now. No.
You should
First
say
off,
yes and have
no.
Kevin do the
That
chat
would
in
be
that freaking
funny.
tank top.
In the tank
Oh.
top, that'd be great.
That would be awesome. Like all of a sudden, like
Sorry,
there's
Kev.
kids.
He's looking at me like he's gonna punch me in the nuts.
Yeah, I'll be like, well, first Venmo me that money, and then we start talking. It's I'm gonna take my clothes off. I'm gonna need the Venmo first. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but how crazy would that be if I agreed
Yeah.
to like video chat smoking a cigar with this person and it's you that's
and
in
it's
it?
and it's me,
It's
and then it's like
catfishing.
surprise,
Catfishing
Jessica doesn't
cigar
really
video.
exist.
Yeah.
It's a.
You've been catfished.
But there is we got a friend of ours, his wife, Nate's ex.
Oh yeah.
So she's was huge into the clothing before she got into cosmetics,
Yeah.
and she would pay some of these people on Twitter. I mean, $5 grand a week, $10 grand a week just to retweet some of these tweets.
Yeah.
And she got me hooked up with the guy. He charged me $50. He's like, I'll retweet one of your tweets. You're a friend of hers.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take care of it. But he's like the largest, like at that time, clothing guy on Twitter. Everybody thinks he's a woman.
Oh, really?
And he
Huh.
and he's
The
got
largest
this whole
retweeter.
Yeah, and he tweets as well, but he's got like 6 different accounts, and he's women on all of these. Women think they're interacting with another
That's
woman.
kind of sketchy.
It's kind of
That's
sketchy.
a little odd.
It's a little odd. And then
Agreed.
How
she
do
was,
you know that it ended up being a dude?
that's because she told me.
Oh,
Yeah,
sure. Oh.
yeah. She told me how how she was getting.
Sent Kevin a nude.
But yeah, it's yeah. Just imagine paying this guy $5 grand for just a couple of retweets. I
That's
mean, and I think at
would
one time. I think at one time she was paying out of all of her retweeters, $25,000 a
But
week.
she has a very large. She had a
Yeah.
very large clothing, and
Yeah.
now she has a large
I would
makeup.
hope so with paying that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she.
$25,000 a week.
Let me tell you,
A week.
she has made a good amount of money at what? Like I think she like hit it big at like 24 years old.
Yeah.
At 24, that girl did not.
Is Twitter that good?
I think there's a lot of
At the
people
time.
with these programs that caught on early and
Mm-hmm.
got it, understood it, and probably built an empire quietly.
Yes.
Yeah, she has
and
a cult
followers.
following.
It was
Yeah,
like the
she-
internet. You remember when the internet came out? All these people were buying up .coms because they were like, ToysRUs.com. One of these days they're gonna want this, or Dick'sSportingGoods.com. And the day came where the internet blew up, and all these people own these
Domains.
These domains.
Yeah.
And then they came out with a law that you can't squat on them if you're not using them. Like
Really?
you have to give them up. Like, and it's and I can't remember what it was some weird. I don't remember the rules on that though. But
That's
No.
interesting.
but yeah, but I own a couple of dozen domains, and I've got them almost all for sale too on GoDaddy.
Do you,
just-
okay, yeah, I was wondering because I own a few,
Yeah.
and I see the values pop up,
Yeah.
on what they are, but I haven't really.
We
done
had
anything.
one that seemed almost promising until it was overseas,
And it was
then
and I forget which one of my domains it was, but it was like I think they offered me like $25,000 for the domain,
yeah,
the name, but it was overseas, and
it
reach
was like
out.
a Korean company.
Yeah, and
wasn't
reach
it?
out to GoDaddy, and they're like, "Yeah, you need to hire an attorney, and it's probably going to cost you about $5,000 to get that money." And you go, and even they said like, "There's no guarantee
Yeah.
that they don't take it, and then you never get your money." And it's like, I'm like, I'm not. I'm just going to hang on to it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was the closest that we thought maybe we were gonna
and
hit the lottery.
yeah. If it was an American company, I would have jumped on it. But
Yeah.
being overseas, and I had to hire an international attorney.
Yeah. Well, I can imagine.
Yeah, and
that's
every
crazy.
once in a while, Kevin goes on. What is that? That lost treasure, or whatever it is in Florida.
Yeah. Every state has their own,
Yeah.
which they have to have for or operate for free, and then you can put in your name, and it'll tell you if there's any money that's come due.
You've had it.
I got like
It's-
twice, like a couple $100.
Yeah.
For what
You
though?
I think one of them, I don't remember the other, but one of them was an old insurance, like Nationwide,
Yeah.
back like 15 years ago. Whenever I had Nationwide insurance, something I either canceled, they owed me money,
Yeah.
I
Right.
moved, they couldn't find me, and
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
my
like-
10-cent checks I refused
Yeah.
to cash.
yeah.
That's
That's
funny.
crazy.
But yeah, apparently, like a lot of people do this, and like if people pass away and they have like money in the bank or
Yeah.
credit cards or something, like like that was owed, you could go on there and like anyone can claim it. Then that's in the family. It doesn't have to have been in a will. It's really strange.
Yeah.
Like the,
That seems like a lot of work.
No,
Like
you
your-
put your name.
my
you
family-
put your name
well,
in. They
like
send
your
you a check.
family.
It's still going on. Well, funny story. Not funny. It actually is kind of neat.
You want to do the intro first?
Yeah, let's do the intro.
Yeah.
right.
Well, hold on here. Wait, I gotta. Oh my goodness gracious! All right, here we go. So
I'm Kevin.
I'm Jessie.
I'm Kerr,
I'm Jen,
and we are
the
Broadleaf
Broadleaf
Bullies.
We talk. You listen. We're the Broadleaf Bullies. And here's your hosts, Kev, Kerr, Jessie, and Jen.
That was not. You didn't have to look away, but I did the bullies
I
because
know.
I was waiting on Jen because she's
I'm
like
a little slow
tone deaf. 3
today.
steps. Seriously, she's about a 3-second delay tonight.
I am. So, funny story or odd.
We gotta welcome everybody.
Oh yeah, welcome everyone.
Welcome.
Welcome, Kerr.
Happy Sab-
Well, we'll start with
Sunday night.
Jen. What are you drinking tonight? What is your beverage of choice?
I'm just doing hot chocolate. I've been drinking coffee all day, all weekend since Friday night. I'm really actually a little tired of it, but needed something warm, so just went with
Oh,
good old
mother,
hot
please
chocolate.
put some hot cocoa,
Yeah.
petite marshmallows in my hot cocoa.
No, we didn't have any marshmallows.
I know.
That would be good though.
Uh,
Nothing exciting.
Kevin, thanks for asking. What am I drinking?
I was gonna say, Kerr, what do you look like you were gonna speak up and then?
No, I
okay,
was just
so what
goofing
you
around.
drinking?
I just her intro of drinking hot cocoa as long as you saying yes to leaving the logos on there. Hot cocoa. I'm actually, Jen got me this Paycheck beer, which is pretty decent. You know, it's not bad. And I also,
I saw a look on your face. That beer sucks, doesn't it?
no, it's actually not bad. I like
A
beer. It's
little
not
light.
bad. It's
It's
a little
better
light.
than the Hershey beer.
Way better than that freaking
We
shit.
still have 11 bottles if you want it.
I saw
11
somebody
bodies.
posted
Blah, blah, blah.
in one of the groups
I saw it
wanting
as well.
to. Did you see it? You
Yeah.
should have offered to sell it to them.
There is no if they want to sell it, I got 11 damn bottles.
We do have 11 bottles. I don't
Yeah.
know how we would ship that.
Oh, I'll
though.
find a way. Just
They
You
ha-
could-
they
you
have
could
it-
I'm
ship
ready
it.
to,
I should
if we have a
scram
yard
the
sale, we
wine.
could just sell it.
Yeah. Kerr already has to deal with the ATF because of the cigars. Now they come to find out he's selling beer at garage sales. You know?
We have
It's-
a license to sell
I
cigars.
focus more on the Hershey syrup whenever I disclose what's in the box when I'm selling it or when I'm sending it. I got some Michener's rye, a little bit of that, and then I'm actually smoking, Kev, because I'm interested in what you guys are smoking. I'm smoking this little ditty from
It's a pretty
the
Band.
the Navy SEALs.
Navy SEAL Foundation.
Navy SEALs
Okay.
Foundation from what's his name? God, I'm freaking drawing a blank here. Jacob's
line?
Ladder.
Okay.
Oh, Southern Draw.
Southern
Okay.
Draw.
Yeah.
This Southern Draw. This is Navy SEAL cigar. This is really good.
really nice band.
Real nice band. Yeah, it's really it's
That's a
it's
pretty
delicious cigar too. It's got some age on it.
Is that a Lancero?
No, it's not a Lancero. I think this
It
might
almost
be.
looked, it
It's
almost looked
long.
like their Presidente.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know.
it's I gotta obviously pull out my handy dandy cigar prop ring gauge. It's I just burnt my nuts. It's it's probably about a 4850.
Oh, wow.
Believe it or not,
Okay.
it's deceiving though, isn't it? Because
It
it's
does look.
Yeah.
it's
like a
about
Lancero.
7 inches, 7.5 long. So
Okay, so that's Southern Draw. That's almost like their Presidente cigar, you know. So
it's
I
a
bet
good.
that-
I like this. I like
Yeah.
this size is a really nice size.
Yeah, or they call it the Presidente size, not the cigar. But yeah,
Right, totally. So Kev, what are you drinking? What are you smoking?
I am drinking my Bacardian Diet out of my Ohio State Tervis tumbler. Or no, this isn't Tervis. That one. No,
That's not a
even-
Tervis.
Yeah,
It's
this
Grandma
is the
Linda's
one we
store.
got from for my Secret Santa. This is my main go-to because it holds a lot more.
Yeah, yeah. After I got you one, that was Ohio State.
Yeah, I like that one too.
We don't use that, I guess,
Does he
anymore.
Well,
alternate?
see what this one is good
No,
since
it's
it's
between
bigger.
that one or the
So-
FSG
so-
one.
so-
I haven't
so
seen him use the one
when-
I got him a long time
when
ago.
it gets down low, it'll fill a whole nother can of Coke and another 3 ounces of Bacardi. That's a good size cup right there. Whoever created that cup, that is a good cup. They were planning right there.
It
They
looks
were
like it fits in your cup holder well too in the car.
yeah, it does.
It's tapered.
It's good. And then I am smoking a Buffalo 10 in the natural from El Artista. I got to hang out with the owner of El Artista yesterday when I was at Corona Cigar, along with the owners of Sinistro Cigars, and then with Jeff Borshowitz.
Oh,
So,
nice.
pretty cool. Jessica?
Yeah.
The meeting of
I'm
the minds.
smoking a Buffalo 10 Maduro. So, yeah. And then I just made a concoction, like a slushy. I took a bunch of strawberries, peaches, ice, and lemonade, mix it together, and then I put in a whole bunch of, I guess it's like a peach margarita type stuff.
Yeah.
And I threw a straw in there.
Yeah. Calling
I'll
it
even-
good.
I don't even know what to say to that.
So
Oh,
Sounds
and then
like a
I have a
refreshing-
backup ice drink thing, sparkling black raspberry
That'd be
ice.
good for summertime.
That's
and then
that sounds
I
good.
did get
Well, it's warm here.
yeah.
Not here.
And
It's a
then,
little
I did
chilly
get from Jeff gave me that same gift set that Jen got you, the Tullamore Dew
Yeah.
and
The
the
whiskey.
cigars and the yeah. So
He
have you
knows-
tried that?
Kevin, it was given to him.
Yes, Kevin likes his free.
Name drop.
Thank you for somebody else saying that. Save it.
Kevin likes free. If
Yeah,
it's
I
free,
mean, it
it's
is
for
for
me.
It is from my sponsor for Brona Cigar.
And then I go and I buy all of my own stuff. I just spent like $400 on different cigars in the last month.
Ezra Zion's got her.
No, it wasn't all Ezra Zion. It was also Tony Costa has
Yeah.
screwed me up by giving me all the discount codes for all this stuff that I like. He's just messaging me, and Kevin's like, "Damn it!"
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Nice.
click away.
Did I like-
at work?
did
PayPal.
Did I like what, Kevin?
That Tullamore Dew, did you try that?
I have not yet. I put it in my coffee. I was going to make an Irish coffee for the show, and the coffee sucked.
Yeah, it
Sorry,
was not
Jen.
a good batch of
It
coffee.
was terrible. It was like burnt coffee water. It was just every once in a while.
Starbucks, was it?
What's that? Yeah.
It was.
Was it
I
Starbucks?
didn't make it right. I think I miscounted.
Every
the
once in a
scoops.
while,
I just really.
we'll throw a freaking,
Yeah,
we'll
it
throw
was
one
bad
behind the
pot.
batter, when it comes to coffee.
Yeah, I mean that happens
both
too.
done
Even
it.
coffee that I love and I've made, and then I'll make it something different. I did something different, and I'm like, why did I do
I
that?
didn't do something different. Just sometimes it's just not a good pot.
Don't know
That's
what
all.
it is. I mean, I've done it before. Like I make some coffee, it's fantastic, and I'll make it, and Joe'll be like, "That is just horrible." And I'm
Yeah.
like, "I counted out the freaking scoops.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, I
used
counted
spring
out the
water."
beans. I put 37 beans in. I counted them.
But-
I weighed each
I don't know.
one.
I just know like how I like my coffee ground, and then I just go eyeball like of how much coffee I normally make like for myself. Because he doesn't drink coffee, so it's just really me making it for myself. So
Yeah.
I mean, you drink the cold brew. It's not
Yeah,
the
yeah.
same.
And I have my cold brew container. I just fill it up to the line, throw it in some water, and then that's it.
Yeah.
So-
And then I don't water it down at all either.
Well, I don't know. This was.
You
It
have
was
watered down.
not good.
Seems like every once in a while that it's like either the French presses kind of could take a turn for the worse. I don't know why, but
Yeah. Maybe the filter of it needs to be cleaned.
no,
or
I
it's
scrubbed them
just
down the other day.
a little funkiness.
I used to use a percolator like years ago. I don't have time for that.
We
That's
have
just-
one. It's just it's very large, so I would never use it for just the two.
It's not a
of
fucking
us.
percolator.
No, we actually have a percolator.
Yeah,
it's
I
like
know
a
the one-
30 cupper though.
Oh, that thing?
It's a percolator.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
I-
if you ever
I
open
like
up
a
a.
real
That's if we
old
open up a
school.
I just
restaurant.
use it
Yeah.
for when I used to go camping, and then I used to when I just wanted to make like.
It's not a
like, have
percolator. I
such a-
think you freaking robbed that from a
No,
freaking
that's
hotel
from, that's from
lobby.
Dad.
Oh,
Dad gave it to me from
Selling
his
coffee.
from
garage.
church.
All right,
Guys-
Carrie, it's time to get out of here. Thanks for staying.
Yeah.
It is.
I like the little travel percolators, like you can go camping with and stuff, and it just makes the coffee have like a different like texture.
Yes.
and taste to
I
it.
choose hotels that have Starbucks in them,
Yeah. Okay.
and it works out well.
I actually got an electric electric teapot. I literally, you said that, and I'm like, I'm freaking gonna be marrying a snob.
Yes.
I have a plastic teapot, like an electric one.
Electric kettle.
Yeah.
Electric
yeah.
kettle.
have one.
I take that with me, and and I'm gonna sound even worse. I take a French press with me when I travel.
I know. I pack it. I'm the one that created the whole little
Because-
travel set.
because like their coffee in hotels suck.
Suck.
That's why
They
you
just
need
suck.
Starbucks.
But you know what? I do have a little thing. I still take the coffee and I take it every day and I pack it and I bring it home.
He does. We have like hotel the little
Dude, when you're
sealable,
traveling
like it's
as
like
much
the
as
little,
I did,
almost like an envelope of coffee.
I have duffel bags full of soap, shampoo,
So
conditioner.
you're the people who end up donating all of that.
I
at some
do.
point.
Yeah.
We get so much of like hotel soaps and coffees and all kinds of stuff in big bags, just donated, and I'm like, why?
Even
why?
I don't
Why?
donate that shit. No,
we'll use it.
I use it.
But
'cause
they think we can give it to like homeless people or like then drop it off at a shelter.
like when we
not
were in a
at
jam,
Goodwill.
I'm like, we're out of soap. I'm like, no, we're not. And I'll pull out this bag of freaking goodies. And I literally will take shit every day because they got to replenish it, even if I don't use it.
But they've changed the hotels though. In the past 2 years, they don't have the mini bottles anymore. Now they're attached to the walls.
Some of them
and
have
they're
the squirts on the
They're
walls.
trying to be, I guess, environmentally friendly,
Yeah, and
something
I,
dumb
I
like
stayed
that.
at one, and when I came up and saw you guys, I stayed at one that had the things on the wall, and they were tamper proof.
Exactly.
So I'm like, and I'm like looking how I can
So
get into
how
it.
many
You know, I'm like,
Yeah,
if I can spin it,
drop a
I
load
don't
there.
really want to go there, but
How many people
know.
could take like a little jug and just keep holding it under
It's
there
just-
until it fills?
I like the little bottles because they're good.
Yeah, I mean, I
brands.
guess you could.
Wow.
You know, Jess is taking the cup they leave
I'm
on
not
the
taking
sink,
any
and then
soap.
she's putting.
No,
she's.
I'm not taking any soap or anything. I can give two shits about hotels.
Just
First
do
off,
you put a
hotel
tube up
soap
like at a
and shit.
buffet at the drink thing and be like, some Sprite, here's a tube, and run it out the window to a big container for Coke?
I bring my own towel to a hotel.
Yeah.
I don't use
See,
their
we
shit.
don't
I
do
pack
that.
my own stuff.
I'll
I do
bring
not
my
like
own blow
hotel
dryer.
shit.
That's
I don't
odd.
use their blow dryer.
Yeah, I bring my own blow dryer too.
We'll use their iron.
I've taken my own iron when I drive, but I take all their shit. and then what's funny is she makes fun of me, and then we'll run out of soap one day. Boom, soap. Or she won't have sugar, and she'll be bitching and complaining. I'll be like,
I do.
bang, freaking plastic.
Cares there's
Yeah, exactly. I'll have some sugar.
I have sugar, I have sweet and low, there's
Sweet and
a
low.
tea bag, there's a spoon.
We run out of coffee. I'll be like, listen, I'm gonna get this coffee. So I would take everything I could in a room. I got
So-
honestly, Kev, I have like 100 shower
For the
caps up there.
apocalypse,
I don't know
we're
why,
okay
but I
with
got
that
100
by
shower
now.
caps.
So Kerr is like Eddie Murphy. What was that movie where he checked out and he had all the towels, he was giving them out? What was the what was that movie? It was
I don't know.
It made a
Was it-
part one. Axel Foley. was
Oh,
his
yeah.
character.
I know what you're talking about.
What was the name?
Beverly Hills Cop.
Gebeverly Hills Cop.
Oh, geez.
That's Kerr. Checks in with a pair of drawers. Checks out and he's lugging this.
That is my one little weird thing that I have about me. That I don't really have any like weird. I probably do, but that is the one thing that I do admit to, that I have that weird thing when I travel. I just, everything that I see that they'll replace is in a bag every day,
Bottles of water.
and I know
Can
that
I ask
I know those
about a
freaking people.
restaurant? Like, you ever go to a restaurant and you're like, "Ooh, I like that cup." Have you ever taken like the cup?
When I was in college, I
Not
did
cups,
that.
but I have taken coasters. Like if they're neat.
Yeah.
When I was in college,
they're
yeah.
not like
When I was in college, I
glasses.
took glasses and cups and stuff like that.
My mom's sister married into this crazy family. When we used to, they're like true Italians, like they're from Italy, like the parents, and they have a place up in Orlando. So occasionally when we would meet them at like Disney or something, like we'd have like this big family dinner at a restaurant. There was like a cheese grater. It was in the mother's purse. If there was like those big salt and
That's
pepper
stealing.
it was in the mother's purse. Like she had this big ass purse, and we're like, why?
You go over to her
That's
house for
Why
dinner and
do
she's
you
got
need
one of
that?
them giant pepper grinders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, "Where did you get that?"
It was
Why is there an
very
Olive
thick,
Garden emblem
and-
on there,
and
logo?
and nobody would say anything, and I would like sit there and be like, what? Why is she taking the cheese grater?
That's funny.
I used
Like,
to
it's
have
like-
the little bottles of Tabasco sauce that come in when you get room service. I
Yeah.
had those. I had the ketchups, the little mustards. I mean,
Those were cute. I did
everything.
like
I just
those.
grabbed everything, and then I'm sure when they, the next day, I'm there for a week, so I'm there Monday, Tuesday, probably going to go. This fucking guy really used all this shit. We got to replace all this shit. He used a freaking shower cap.
He ordered an apple and 8 bottles of Tabasco sauce. What did
But that is my one little weird thing. But
I
We
think a
use
lot
them.
of, but I think that's like a lot of people's thing. You're paying for the hotel. You're like, I'm taking these. These are samples.
Yeah, because sometimes you're
Sample
paying
size
these
items.
exorbitant prices for these hotels, and it's like, then they want to charge you for Wi-Fi. They want to charge you every day for parking. I'm like, oh, I'm going to take all your stuff now.
I don't
I know.
justify it that way. It's just a thing about
Yeah,
me.
oh, yes. Yeah, Karen's
I'm
like,
just
I just
weird.
steal
I'll
it.
justify it.
Yeah,
But
I'm
now
not justifying at all.
it's gotten to the point where I've used the shower gel and the shampoo when we were short in soaps. Now we just have like 3 baskets at home in closets and a big bag under the bed.
Yeah.
And when I go through the baskets when I'm like desperate for something, it's just like conditioner, lotion, conditioner, lotion, conditioner, lotion, conditioner,
Usually,
lotion. It's like nothing
yeah.
but conditioner, lotion because we went through all the soaps and the shower
Yeah.
gels. And then
can tell
I'm
what we
like,
go after.
I say to myself, I don't use conditioner. I don't use lotion. I should throw these out. And I go to throw them out. I'm like, I can't. And I put them back in.
Yeah, I stayed at a friend of mine's house. This is probably going back like 10 years. I forgot my toothbrush. I was only away for a weekend, and I only stayed at his house overnight. And I'm like, oh, I forgot my toothbrush. His wife comes down and is like, oh, they took me in like the little pantry, which is probably a 200 square foot pantry. And she had a basket, and it had like 50 toothbrushes in it. She's a couponer. And and then like just whatever, ketchup, 80 bottles of ketchup. Just it was
My dad's
100
stepmom
things
like
of
that.
Yeah.
Well, my
everything.
mom is like that with canned goods. Even when we were kids, I don't know what it is about canned goods, but and then she's like trying to give them, hey, don't you need this?
Yeah.
No.
My sister always comes home
like
with
don't.
some
I'm not
stuff.
shopping in your closet. Like I picked the kids
I
up,
would.
and she's like, here's a bag of all this stuff. I'm like,
well,
I don't
she
want
never
it.
offered me
I don't get
anything.
offered anything. My sister gets
No,
all the
we
stuff
don't.
from my dad and my
We didn't bring anything
stepmom.
back from Pennsylvania.
She always comes home with like all these shampoos and stuff. I'm like, what the hell happened to me?
detergent.
I like peanut butter. You got 8 jars of peanut butter. How about throwing one my way? Or you know what? If there was a zombie apocalypse and if the cure was toilet bowl freaking cleaner, they would be the hub of being able to give the cure. That's how many toilet bowl cleaners bottles they have. I don't get one.
It's BOGO. Buy one, get one free.
Our neighbor Peanut, he's on like Medicaid, and then I guess every month they give you a certain dollar allotment to spend on this government store for aspirin and
any medical stuff.
Any medical stuff. So like every couple months he'll bring over like 30 bottles of ibuprofen.
Yeah, and my mom gives me and Wyatt the eyeglass cleaners in boxes.
But
like
the ibuprofen has like it's like this bottle that could probably hold 100, and you get like 12. So he brings over handfuls. And then,
I bring them to work.
And then like a couple months ago, he gave me a blood pressure machine. He's like, "Hey, you need one of these? I got an extra one." I'm like,
We'll take it.
You might as well just take it and resell it. It's not like your taxpayer money's going towards it.
My mom and dad get the same thing, and my mom, she always goes, "You need anything?" I'm like, eyeglass cleaner. That's all she ever gives me, and why is eyeglass cleaner.
I embarrassed my brother one day. God rest his soul. We were back in Pennsylvania, and we were in line. And the couple in front of us, I'll just say the couple in front of us, they had like, all this crappy food, and then they had their cartons of cigarettes and booze and everything, and they're like scraping money together to pay for that.
Yeah.
While their access card is paying for the money, and their access card isn't working.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at the thing, and it keeps going. And I'm like, we're having a party, and my brother and I are getting like hot sauce and stuff for the party. And I'm like, excuse me, just put it on my tab. And they all looked at me. I go, it's my taxes anyways. I'm just cutting out the middleman. And my brother's just like, shut the fuck up. I'm like, no, seriously. So they actually put $12 on my freaking tab, and I paid for it. They were on their way. I was like, just scrape your dimes together, pay for your cigarettes. Just please be on your way.
Get out of the way.
Yeah,
it was very cold to me. I'm going to get canceled now, right?
Yeah. Well, you want to know, it's frustrating because like they've actually changed how they do like food stamps over the years. Like before, you used to never be able to get hot prepared meals, right? Like at the food store, like none of that. No real fresh
store. There's a food store.
At your food
I had
store,
to learn that when we first started dating. She goes, "Yeah, I'm gonna go over to the food store today." I'm like,
what do you call it?
Grocery store.
Grocery store.
No, it's a food store.
Okay.
I'm thinking when I go to the food store, there's a store and they have food to feed me, like a restaurant.
Yeah, like an Applebee's is a food store.
Right.
No, in New Jersey they call it a food store, but also a grocery store.
Yeah, but the food store. I don't know. I worked at ShopRite. It's a food store.
All right. I was just so confused there for a second.
Well, anyway, at the grocery store, excuse me. I'm so sorry.
We gonna go to the food store. It's okay.
It's okay. But you couldn't buy certain things. Like even on WIC,
right.
There's only certain things you're allowed to get. And so here you have to buy all this garbage food anyway, because that's really all your food stamps will allow you. You can't buy anything fresh. Or if you did, it cost so much money. So you had only so much money on your food stamp card. So some of those people can't even buy good stuff to eat, healthy stuff, because they have to stretch that money for the month. And I'm just saying, sometimes.
No, I agree with you. And normally, because I've seen folks and I've worked with folks like that back in Delaware, part of when I was in college, I did my internship with the police department, but I also did, community work and service. What I don't like is what I saw in front of me, which is scraping money together for cartons of cigarettes and booze.
But that's
while you're going to pay $12 for freaking, Doritos and Mountain Dew.
Well, here's what used to bother me is that I would see that happening too, and I'd be like, "Are you kidding me? Here I'm scraping together rolled change to buy bread and crap for my kids, and here they are somehow buying cigarettes that are expensive and
No
alcohol
doubt.
and stuff.
Yeah.
And then, but now what bothers me too is you can use your EBT card in gas stations and
We got an ice
all
cream
this-
truck
have
that
an
takes it.
I have a picture of on
hell?
our ice cream truck in our area. Says
Takes EBT.
we accept
Yeah.
EBT.
Now what
Ice
we've
cream
got in our town here, which is really good, during I think it's like 9 months of the year, we have the farmers market at City Hall, and it's double your EBT card.
What?
So if you have an EBT card like that has
you can buy
whatever
fresh
with
produce?
like $200 on it, you now have $400 to spend at the farmers market.
Oh, that's actually pretty
So,
awesome.
yeah,
I love that.
So they double.
Well, that was always
so for
something
fresh-
that I
for
had
fresh
an
food.
issue with when for a short period of time I had to be on food stamps when I was going through my divorce and being a single mom with 3 kids. I hated it. Like I hated being on food stamps because I also hated the fact that I had to pick and choose what I thought I could,
Right.
buy and all that stuff because you couldn't just go and buy all these fresh
And it has to
fresh
be
food. It has to last me
non-taxable,
for the-
correct?
Right, and it has to last me through the whole entire month. So I just can't just buy all this fresh food. It's going to go bad. It's not going to last the whole month, and there goes my whole $200 that they gave me.
But you utilize it to help yourself in order, because like I said, there's a lot of folks who use it and stay on it like a
right,
freaking
and
lifestyle.
it's meant for you as a stepping stone.
Right,
You're
yeah.
not supposed to be on it permanently.
Exactly.
I remember when I first had Wyatt, automatically I got WIC. Like he was on disability, you
Right.
automatically get WIC. I mean, I gave peanut butter to everyone. Eggs, milk. Who needs a gallon of milk? They give you so much the first 5 years of those kids' life. WIC is a better program than food stamps.
Yeah.
You get eggs, peanut butter, you get bread, you get cereal, and like
all the
milk,
other stuff that you
all the
really need that's important.
yeah.
And because, like you said, when it comes to being on disability, but I actually did a report in school about this too, locally, of folks who take advantage of the system.
They do.
And
that's
the
every-
various
everything.
ways that within where I was, that there was a community that was for single mothers and their kids, and men over the age of 18 could not be there after dark. So the police used to kind of, cruise through there. And he's like, well, we got a woman, single parent, has kids, gets money, gets free housing. Her boyfriend works at Kraft and lives with her, so they're living rent free. And then, as soon as their kid, and it was just the whole cycle. That's why when I saw that when we were in the grocery store, I'm like, I'm paying. I'm just going to skip the middleman. And, you guys are pay for your cigarettes and your booze over there. This is ridiculous. But
You can ask Kevin, when you first met me, were you a little terrified where I lived?
No, I didn't know anything about it. She lived in an apartment complex that started off as a really nice apartment
Oh,
complex.
I guess. I don't
and,
know.
And then it went to like half of it was
Section
like
8.
Section
No,
8.
all of it was
Oh,
Section
was
8.
all of it?
But you don't have to be on Section 8 to live there.
Yeah,
I wasn't
right.
on Section 8. When I first found it, I found it online. My parents went there during the day, said it was like, oh, it's a nice gated place.
like
That's
my
Sounds
cool.
like your place.
And I was like, what the? So what? The first night that I spent in the apartment, SWAT was banging on my door.
Oh, jeez.
Full mask, full gear, everything. The neighbors upstairs got busted for making like meth or some shit and crack and all this crap upstairs.
But
It's like, this is
I'll
great.
give it the complex she lived in was immaculate. I mean, everything was clean all the time. So at least it wasn't scary driving in.
Well,
I mean,
when
there
you
was some
met
sca-
me
there
by
was
then,
sca-
they had new people taking over.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah, when I
Okay.
first moved in, no, it was not clean and it was
Oh,
not
okay.
nice at all. And I'm pretty sure everybody on my side was like crackheads. Like every single person
Oh,
there
yeah.
was on some kind of drug. So I technically on paper was just as poor as they were. I just chose to not live like a disgusting human being.
Yeah.
Like they choose to live a certain way. But people would be driving brand new Lexuses and their kids would be out there like with the most disgusting clothes on.
Mhm.
They'd be starving, like no food, but their parents were driving like looked the best, drove the nicest cars, but they didn't take care of their kids. I mean, I used to see like 3 and 4-year-olds outside with no adults.
See,
Just walking around the complex like, what the hell?
what they
Yeah.
needed to
What's
do
happening?
was they needed to get on a computer and search to see if they had money anywhere, and see if they,
Yeah.
They could have had
Like,
money
They
available.
could have had money
would never
available
know.
to them.
There were shootings in my apartment complex. They found some guy who OD'd dead in the kids' park. You know, Graham, I used to not let him go play with any of the kids in the neighborhood. I was like, he'd be like, can I go hang out? No, you cannot.
But you had
And
some,
they cannot come here either.
you had some cool, wacky neighbors, though. You know,
Kermit.
like
Kermit is his real name.
yeah.
His real name, Kermit.
Kermit.
Who was like either drunk or high as a kite all the time.
Kevin thought he was awesome.
Called me when he'd get drunk. He'd be like, my lady, can you come over here? Come over here. I was like, no.
Turns into
I'm
British
talking about
royalty
Kermit.
when he's
Kevin loved it.
Yeah,
a
Kevin.
little bit of heroin.
What's up,
Now
Kermit?
I'm British
Yeah.
royalty.
Yeah, it
He'd
was-
come over, sit down, drunk, and he'd be like, you better take good care of her. I love her.
Yeah.
Like, psycho, weird shit. Like, God, go away.
I just snorted
Can't.
some Ativan, my lady. Now
All of
I'm
a sudden,
English
he'd be like,
royalty.
from another, and he was from Maine, so he had a really thick Maine accent.
Wow,
And then when he was
that's
drunk, all of
funny.
a sudden he was English. You
Yeah.
know, like so weird. He was a weird guy.
And then the Mexican family upstairs.
They weren't. First off, that's rude. They're not Mexican. Why do you always say stuff like that?
I thought they were Mexican.
No.
Boy, if I didn't get us
he's
canceled,
from
now you
the
did,
Virgin
Kevin.
Islands,
Good job,
and
Kevin.
she's from Puerto Rico.
Oh, okay.
They're not Mexican.
Well, hold
I
on,
thought-
but if you look at Puerto Rico, you look at the Virgin Islands, in between is Mexico. So I can understand where Kevin got confused.
Yeah.
I can't.
I
guys.
We could do a little geography now.
Yeah, I don't know where places are. I do not. That is
Well,
that is my
anyway.
downfall.
apparently.
I don't know where. We were just talking last
Louis
night.
was his name anyway.
Louis. Yeah, I was talking with Jeff Borshowitz yesterday in the
Oh,
office.
you're just gonna change the
No,
subject.
no, talking about geography, and then he was saying like there was parts of was it Washington or Oregon that they wanted to break away and they wanted to join Idaho. I go, well, the hell they gonna join Idaho? It's like in the middle of the country, and he's like, no, and I'm like, I don't know maps. I don't know where Idaho
Why would you
is.
say that?
I thought Idaho was in the middle by like Kansas.
You
I
and
don't know where
Duncan should never get
Wow.
together and be a
That'd
top.
be
What is it?
funny.
Topology.
Yeah.
Yeah.
no.
Something like
I
that.
know.
Just
Read
never, because
maps.
Duncan will say
Yeah.
something. I'll be like, Duncan, that's nowhere near where the fuck you're
Yeah,
talking
that's
about.
not,
Yeah,
that's not close.
Yeah, I thought Idaho was next door to
Yeah,
Kansas. I don't know.
I'm gonna go to
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to Kentucky. Why do I want to go to Philadelphia for? I'm like, Duncan, Philadelphia's in Pennsylvania.
So you
bro.
don't know anything west of the Mississippi.
I don't know anything east of the Mississippi. I was in Kentucky for the first barn smoke or something, and then I checked into a place, and my cousin Jeremy sends me a message. Hey, you should come up to Ohio and see us. And I'm like, Ohio? I go, I'm in Kentucky. I'm not driving across the
It was
country.
2 hours away.
Yeah, and he's
That's
like,
fine.
Right
and
there.
then I'm
yeah.
like 2 hours from you. You go, get the hell out of here. And I had to pull up a map. I'm like, son of a bitch, Ohio's like right here. And no, it's
my
I'm
neighbor.
driving halfway across the country to see you.
Yeah.
I get a little confused in that kind of like Minnesota area. That gets a little dicey, but other than that, you know,
I don't know. I just kind of know
Geographically.
where the states are and
I
stuff.
would think
I
with
don't
your
get-
encyclopedia knowledge, you would have been
Yeah.
well versed in
you
states.
but you
and
get outside the
location
U.S.
and-
Some people couldn't even if you
I-
literally
Listen, my dad still
Couldn't
pulls
put out
out a
somebody's
paper
country.
map.
Yeah.
Like we were driving to North Carolina. He's like, let me get my atlas.
No. First thing he goes, which route you guys
Yeah.
taking? And I go, I don't know, GPS. So he pulls out his atlas, whatever,
Yeah.
flips it on the table. He's like, all right, so what you're gonna want to do is you're gonna want to take
Yeah.
like
Yes.
you're gonna want to take like 18 to
Yep.
22 to 441 to 75.
Yeah, my
And then
mom
when-
sends
you know,
maps down from AAA. She'll be
Yeah.
like, "Oh, you're going
Yes.
here." She sends
Yeah.
me a whole packet that
Yes.
she gets the
That
mail
is
from
my
AAA.
dad.
I used
But
to
my
use
dad
them
just
all
turned
the time.
69
Mhm.
today.
Yeah.
Today's
Happy
my
Happy
birthday.
birthday.
Yeah.
I used to use those
White
maps all
and
the
I
time.
went
Yeah.
over to go
I use them too.
Yeah.
give him a birthday
But she
card,
still
and we got
does
him
it.
a
Yeah,
Home
Mom.
Used to
Depot
get a bunch
card.
of 'em.
And
Your mom's different,
my
though.
brother found him a golf cart online or like off of like one of the websites, like the trade marketplaces. So he pimped it out for him. He got him all these like neon lights underneath it,
Nice.
and like those bars because they go camping all the time. Now they have a
Pimp
golf
my ride.
cart.
Yeah.
They
Man,
pimped his
your dad
ride.
will hit the wrong button. It'll be like hydraulics.
Yeah.
What did you do to this, Donnie?
So he closes the garage while we're there, and he's like, Wyatt, he's like, press this button, and the whole thing like lights up, and then there's like this big stick in the back that has different, like, it looks like a sword, those from Star Wars, and had all these different lights. I'm like, they'll see you coming.
That's
Trust
funny.
me, the whole
that's
wherever you go,
That-
they'll see you coming.
that's
I'd
Don
drive it.
going over there and pulling up, and then the garage is open, and there's an 8-foot by 8-foot flag, and it's like a shirtless Donald Trump riding an eagle. And he's got this flag in the garage for all to see on this major
Nice.
thoroughfare. I'm like,
Listen,
oh, that's a fancy
first
flag
off,
right there.
Barron, their son, is in a plane. Those
Yeah.
Barron planes.
Yeah.
Like his face, like his son's face. There's like an eagle. It's creepy. I took a picture. I'll send it to you.
That's
That's
guys.
hilarious.
awesome. I love
I
it.
pulled up and I sent it to my sister right away, and I go, "Help me! I have now entered another planet. Like,
That's great.
who are these people?" Like, I can't believe their neighbors didn't like burn it or steal it because they had, all Biden signs in their yards. I'm like, are you guys kind of afraid? So of course my parents and my brother, like super conservative, like had all, and I was just like, this is embarrassing. I'm like running in, running out.
We were I was in Spartanburg at this office complex, and I have a video of it. I see these flags because everybody around here likes to put flags on cars and drive around, and this guy had a big stars and bars flag and another flag and all these like freaking white supremacy bumper stickers all over the back of this vehicle, driving around his parking lot. There's a for sale sign in the window.
That's so
Oh yeah,
sad.
I had to fill in one night doing
Oh my
security.
God.
And I had to go from my cushy job to the Main Street, Sarasota, which is a pretty ritzy area. But and so doing security, doing patrolling, and then some redneck kid with his big Confederate flag driving up and down the street with his music playing, trying to get everybody's attention. Nobody's paying attention to him. So at one point he parks. He gets out. He's standing on the street corner, waving his big Confederate flag, shouting these
Okay.
obscenities. An hour later, we hear this bloody scream, and then the kid got shot. And it was a
Wow, that's kinda
We got the
scary.
well, it was
Attention
it was like
is
it was like a little 22, like in the gut. The kid was going to be okay, but he was crying, and it's like that, black kid, whatever you want, racial epithet that he called him, shot me, and I go, what do you think was going to happen? You're standing here on the street corner,
Being
waving this,
ignorant and
being ignorant,
stupid.
and it was
Yeah.
great because the EMT showed up, and two black EMTs
Had to save his
had
life.
to. Well, the kid wasn't
Well,
gonna die.
but
He could have
still
walked
had
it
to
off.
assist
Still,
But I'm
though,
like,
that's-
oh, this is just epic right here.
You're looking for attention, bro. You got it. But this guy's car, his car was for sale, and I'm like, look at this,
Yes.
thinking,
They're just going to
Really?
beat down his door.
Really?
Blow up his
Man,
phone.
I almost wanted to get the number, just call, just to see what he's going to sell that car for, because he was just going around the parking lot, and I'm like, man,
It's just so sad.
I see some funny ass shit.
Yeah,
man.
we see a lot of the flags here on the big. Usually, it's always on the big pickup trucks.
Yeah, but you want to know something though? It's like, I mean, that's fine and dandy. I'm not saying anything about the South. Like, history is history. We can't erase history. There's certain things, but at least get your history correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of those guys don't even know like what that flag even represents.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of ridiculous. Some of those guys, with
I
their
had to-
stickers and
I had to
their,
get on our neighbor.
but they don't understand their history.
I had to get on our neighbor across the street, and Patrick lived here.
Yeah,
And,
dumb.
flying the flag, and then one day because he had the "Don't Tread on Me," so he always kept like 2 or 3 flags on his pole, and the "Don't Tread on Me" one was up top. So I had to go over and knock on his door. I go, Patrick, you're supposed to be an American patriot. Nothing flies above the American flag, right?
Right.
I go, take that shit down. I don't care what you can put it back up. Make sure the American flag's up top.
Yeah, it goes below it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and off to states go off to the side. You know what's funny about not funny, but what's sad is when you say people don't know their history. I've learned that living down here and being a Yankee, so freaking heaven forbid. The history, it's not knowing the history, it's the side of the history that you're on.
Yeah.
Right?
I get what you're saying there,
And I'll give you an example. I'm not going to mention any names. I'm not going to mention anything. But when you see a book entitled "How the Hero John Wilkes Booth Killed the Cowardly Abraham Lincoln,"
Yeah.
to support the South, I'm like, what conversation could I have with that person that's going to make any fucking sense to them? You
No.
know, because
you can't.
it's that understanding of the war of northern aggression. That's what they call it.
Yes.
And everything that you read falls into line with that ideology, that thought process, that belief.
Yeah.
Even to the point where you get some folks are like, well, yeah, we had slaves, but we treated them really well. Not like Alabama or Mississippi. And I'm like, whoa. Let's stop there for a second. Let's back up till we had slaves and just stop right there. You know, anything after that is blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
It's wrong.
Yeah.
You remember my brother-in-law Steve a couple years ago when the whole thing about
He's
the Confederate
like
flag.
He's from Hawaii, right?
He changed his profile picture to the Confederate flag, and he's like, I'm never taking down the flag. This is my heritage. Like his mom or aunt chimed in on that post. She's like, you were born in Hawaii, Steve. That's where you're born and raised.
Yeah.
You know, like you're not Southern. You're Hawaiian.
They're Hawaiian, like he's. But he's oh God. What is his actual like?
We have to stop and redo this show over.
Yeah. His family's like Polynesian,
they're Polynesian.
Yeah, they're like native. They're
they're not. He's not white at all.
Well, my question is it Southern Hawaii?
Yeah. It's Southern Hawaii.
But he's on the southern side of the island.
But it was funny. His
Is
family
it below the Mason-Dixon line?
But his family finally was like, no, enough is enough. Like, stop
I should give him that one. I go, Steve, technically you're below the Mason-Dixon line. Yeah. So he'd be like, that's my
post away, bro.
Post away, bro.
That's so funny. I know, growing up, like, in New Jersey and stuff, like, I don't know. Like, I just think in the South it's different than it is up north, and when I moved to North Carolina and Graham was going to school, I mean, he dealt with a lot of racism. I mean, people used to always say, why are you dark? Like, why is your skin dark? Like what are you Mexican? Like, people would say that to him and he'd be like, first off, no, I'm half Puerto Rican and all, whatever. And what does it matter? You don't like people who get a tan? You don't like the sun? Like, get the hell out of here. Like, but he dealt with it a lot. I mean, it was primarily white people living in that area, And so Graham, I always just told him, I'm like, don't listen to people like that. They don't matter in your life.
Very
short-sighted. We never really had that, like growing up, like here in Florida. I mean,
Florida's a melting pot.
Yeah, my
Florida
area.
is
Florida's
definitely
not the South.
Yeah, Florida's
some
a
parts
melting
are.
pot. No, some parts are, but most of everywhere I've been in Florida, like I lived in Jacksonville, and that is so diverse.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, where I grew up in Pennsylvania, it was it was very diverse.
Yeah, me too.
Our backyard, my mom used to say it was her United Nations. It just was. I mean, and it just everybody I grew up with, they were either black, they were Hispanic or Puerto Rican. They were
I was
Vietnamese.
friends with a lot of Filipino people.
I mean, and then when I went to college, it was like, it was same thing. I played football. I mean, and it was, you didn't even think twice about it, But the one thing that happens is when you do hear and you see these things, it does make you take pause and try and gain a little bit of empathy and understanding, because of a lot of folks out there, as we talked about before, where it has impacted them.
Yeah.
It's
very true.
The negativity or the racism and stuff does have that impact on them and their lives or their family members, and you just can't discount things. That's why I've always thought, when that stuff comes up, let's address it, especially if it's real. You don't want too many people just, if you disagree with someone and someone cries racist right away, it's like, well, no,
right.
I just don't agree with you. Let's not go to that extreme, because I think it waters down the serious shit that happens, in my opinion.
Right, but then there are people who should be validated, and there are people who feel the need to be validated. So there's a difference there. But my son's friend Isaiah, they went to vocational. They didn't go to the same high school. They went to a Votech school together, while they were both in high school, and met up and did like some kind of computer courses. So they became friends, and Isaiah is a very large black man. Like, he was a very, very large black kid. His mom is half white. His mom's white and his dad is black. He grew up in an area where we live, or where my job is. It's literally like all white people. He's like the only black person really in that area. And he grew up with his mom. His dad wasn't in the picture. And like, he even says, he goes, I can't even relate to being black, because he goes, I've never been around black people. He's been around white people his whole life. And like, so his mannerisms, like even just certain things that he says and does, so when all this other stuff started coming out with Black Lives Matters and stuff, he said online, like, he's a gamer. You know, a lot of people were really nasty to him that were black, like saying, you're not a true black person. Like, you're not getting behind this movement. And I actually felt like he would say stuff to me, be like, he goes, it makes me feel like a shitty person. Like, I'm not a human being. Like, why can't we just be human beings? Like, what does it matter? Mm-hmm. You know, he can't help that he was born into what he was born into, you know, that he didn't have this black culture and history. I mean, he can read about it, he can do all that, but he's not living it. He's literally being raised by a blonde hair, blue-eyed woman.
But the tough part about that, though, is even though he grew up in that environment and around those, you know, that community, it doesn't matter how when it comes to people that will engage him and see him just for his color. It doesn't matter how he was raised or where he was raised or, you know, what he's accustomed to. There's some folks that are just going to see him as a black man and will judge him as such. And I'm sure it's even harder for him to compute, maybe, you know, being in the community he was in. And that's what's tough. And I know we've had discussions in the past over, you know, Irish Americans and Italian Americans when they first came to this country and how they were treated and just, you know, the viciousness.
Well, even like even when Chinese people were here,
but
and how
even
they were
like
treated.
with Irish Americans and Italian Americans, they could like shorten their name, like they or even, you know, Jewish Americans, they could shorten their names, you know, and still kind of blend in, if you will. Yeah. And that's something that has always been, I think, the one factor that is not understood by everybody is, you could say I'm an Italian American, and my name may be Cipollone, but we could shorten it to Sip, and no one would, you know, you just look like an average white person, you know, walking around.
So he was needing a job, and so at the time the store I'm at now, it was run by a different store manager. So I found him the job there, and he still works there now. I'm his boss, but like everybody loves him. He's like one of the most intelligent people I've ever met in my life. He's super musically talented, but like once they get past, because he is like a grizzly bear. I mean, he is a big boy, but he's like the sweetest person on the planet, you know. And that
short-sighted and
they are, but in that area. Idiots. Where my store is, it is like, I always call it Angle-tucky, you know, because it is like, it is a little backwoods. If for the part of Florida, like, I don't know if it's just because people go there to retire. It's pretty much like a retirement area, but those old ladies love him. Like they do. But there isn't a lot of African American people in that area. Now you come here in Sarasota, you know, we have a very diverse community, but there in that part of Charlotte County, it is primarily white. It's really weird. I don't know if it's due to like demographically, like because of money or what, because in other parts of Port Charlotte, it's not nice.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think every area has their, you know, different classes area or a meld of it. In Greenville and in this area, it's just mixed throughout. You can have a $1 million home next to, you know, a fixer-upper trailer.
But I couldn't, I feel like the racism thing is not just racism, white people against black people or other, you know, other races. There's also racism on their own people. Like we have racism towards our own like people too, in a sense. Like
that's more like a social status or a you know, when you're sitting there, you know. Back in Pennsylvania,
like how we said rednecks, you know,
well, like, I mean, it's
in a sense that's the same type of. It's sort of still we're still attacking people.
We're talking
about
white trash, PWT,
white trash,
right?
So I mean, it's no different. It's like people attacking, but it shouldn't matter. Like just treat people like you
in different
beings.
terms. Like I think on Facebook last week, someone used on one of my posts the term cracker. And then someone from the South, cracker. It said, I was like, oh, it definitely must not mean the same in Florida as it does up here. And then someone else posted, or someone else posted, then I posted like the history
Florida
of the term
cracker.
cracker in Florida, and then
Cracker
he's sort of
Jack.
like, oh, he comes back, he goes, oh, it doesn't mean the same thing as it
No.
does in Alabama, I think where he was from, or Georgia. And
Yeah,
I'm like,
no.
yeah, no, in
The history is
Florida,
what the Cracker Jack boxes they lived in, the Cracker houses, right? The shitty houses. They look like they called them Cracker Jack houses.
I don't know. I just know
I don't know that term,
people
Cracker
call
Jack house.
themselves,
I think it was in Georgia. I think it was Georgia.
Florida natives, but
where
they
it
call
came
themselves
from.
Florida crackers.
Yeah, because I think if I'm not mistaken, it started off with the poor whites would live in these we call them
Like
Cracker Jack houses.
bungalows?
They were like
Okay.
wooden shacks,
Okay.
and that's where the cracker came from. Of course, I could be completely wrong and making this up, and we'll have protesters outside my door tomorrow.
Probably.
Don't kill the messenger. I'm just telling you what I read. But
Yeah.
but
I mean that's a possibility. Obviously, there's probably some lore to all of that and some
there
history.
is. There
and
always
truth
is
and,
something to that.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's always a term comes from somewheres.
Yeah, and I actually we back home back in Pennsylvania. There's a doctor who's building this big beautiful home. He built this house, and it was in like rural Pennsylvania, right in the middle. And he married a wife, and he married a woman, and she wanted to sell the house and move because about a mile down the road, like driving to their house was a trailer. Because and he's like, dude, I have like this big, freaking grand, awesome, incredibly beautiful home on all this property, and you just want to sell it because down the road is a trailer. She's like, yeah, I don't want people to believe we live in a trailer park. I'm like, yeah, I think, that $1 million home, we're just hiding the wheels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a difference. Like I know up north, like there is trailer parks up north in some areas and stuff, but it's not common. At least not for me, like it is in the South. The South is.
Well, I mean, we'll take a trip. We'll take a trip back home, Pennsylvania.
No, I know in Pennsylvania. That's what I'm saying.
I'll
like
show you
Allentown. I know.
I'll show you some trailers, and outside is like a real
Yeah,
big,
I've
like
seen
the
it.
old school freaking, satellite dish with the
I've seen it.
American Eagle painted on it with the
But there's
water in
not-
it, and some kid freaking playing in his diapers.
Yeah, but I've seen that. But that's what I'm saying. It's
We live in a
not.
trailer, but we get Korean wrestling.
It's not like as populated like it is here in Florida. There's trailers everywhere. Like you can drive down a main road and there's mobile homes. That's
Right.
55 and older parks and all this stuff, and like some nice, some not. It's more common. Like I saw more, but when I lived in Jacksonville, I lived in a trailer, and so like I don't know. I don't see anything.
My mom
wrong
lived in a
with it.
trailer because it was, and my sister lived in a nice, development trailer trailer area. I mean,
But I've been to some nasty places where it's
but
not.
when you hear trailer, you're like,
Yeah,
when I worked at
So-
Enterprise Rent a Car in Schuylkill Haven, like up near Pottsville where they make Yingling, our address was Sammy's MHP Motorhome Park. We actually had an office in
That's
front
awesome.
of a trailer park.
Yeah, but people that live in like the old trailers, like in Florida, and then the hurricanes come and destroy them. Like now everything is like a lot nicer. They're like better and stuff. But some of those trailers, I don't know what keeps them up. Like I don't know why they're still standing.
They just demolished a trailer park near us, and it was it had been 50 years old.
Yeah.
And it was a
little rough. Well, yeah.
It was.
Well,
it was
after
rough.
Charlie, when FEMA came and all those FEMA
Hurricane Charlie,
Yeah,
not the person.
No, Hurricane
Yeah.
Charlie in the box.
Yeah.
And the Misfit
I
Toys.
mean, it did so much damage to Southwest Florida. FEMA trailers were everywhere. So,
Yeah.
and some of those trailers are worse than the trailers that those people were living in. I mean, but yeah, so people's houses still had tarps on them for years.
Oh,
it was
imagine when that.
Can you imagine the mold?
Yeah.
Oh God.
I mean, the brutality of some of those storms and
it was nasty.
and probably the freaking snail-like speed of FEMA and then the insurance companies, and I mean,
Well, they were shipping people off to other states.
Well,
That's how they
yeah.
were getting rid of people too.
yeah,
They were, especially when it happened in New Orleans. I mean, they
Oh,
were
God,
sending
yeah.
people all over the place, telling them basically, "Well, you can't come back."
Yeah,
which is so crazy.
we used to, when I
Like-
worked at Enterprise, we used to have State Farm, I think it was, when there were storms, we used to work with people they used to call storm chasers. And what
Yeah.
they were is it was just a team of insurance adjusters that would just go into areas that were just hit by a storm. And that was their only job, was just processing all the claims from a storm.
Oh.
And,
Yeah.
they'd have to stay in hotel rooms and everything because they'd have to be there on the spot. Because a
Yeah.
lot of those folks got to, they got to inspect and everything else. But I could not. That'd be crazy.
Yeah, my boss at the time made a ton of money, and then he actually went into the construction business because of Hurricane Charlie.
A lot of people
He saw
made
that
off of
he
that.
saw it coming, and it wasn't supposed to hit us in this area.
No, it wasn't.
And then he saw it coming, and then he had called up a roofing company, where a manufacturer, and I don't know what it was, 12, 14, 15 tractor trailers bought everything.
Yeah.
Every shingle, everything that factory had produced, and was
smart.
and then he bought everything, and then he bought a local roofing company just to buy their employees, and then it turned into a huge huge business.
I was living in Bradenton. It was supposed to hit in Tampa. Like, it was supposed to hit there. So my parents were like, "Oh, come stay with us in Port Charlotte. Like, you'll be safer." So I pack Graham up and we go. He's like 5 or 6. So we go to my parents. It hits there. Like, devastates the area. They had to have they had to block it off. They had the National Guard here. You couldn't get in and out because of all the looting. People were destroying and stealing and wrecking metal, like any copper out of people's like AC units.
Yeah.
Like, they were stripping. So the hurricane hits, destroys things, and then people
Just
destroyed
went
the
in
rest.
and just did the rest.
I mean, they wreaked havoc. It was like a nightmare. So there was no water for like weeks at some place. Like, some people didn't have water or electricity for weeks. There was no more ice. Remember, it was like bad in some areas. Luckily, Sarasota County.
Luckily,
get hit
my
bad.
area. I mean,
My
we never
parents
got
ended up
anything.
having to come and stay at my apartment just so they could like get clean and stuff. And my grandmother was living like a town away from them and had electricity and water, so they were good. But my parents, like, neighbors' house, the whole roof came off. Like, palm trees destroyed my parents. Like, pool cage windows were blown out. Docks were all like up out of the water, like destroyed. Like, you drive down there, it looked like a tornado had hit, and
That's
just
why I like where we live in Greenville.
totaled
We're just
everything.
nestled between mountains, and
But you guys
you
still
know,
get tornado warnings, don't you?
we do, but
occasionally.
it's very rare,
couple
and it's more
years.
south of us where
Yeah.
it's a little bit flatter and more open.
Yeah.
We'll
So
have
you guys
one
don't-
touch down and do some damage, but it's not. It's more scary to hear the sirens. But thankfully, we'll get bad rains, maybe flooding, ice in the winter. But
So
we're
you
really
guys don't
nestled.
get a lot of like dangerous. So you're not constant tornadoes.
No,
hurricanes.
No.
we're
You guys aren't
No.
we're so
and they're not on
far
the
we're so
mountains,
far
you don't get
inland.
mudslides.
We're so
Yeah.
far inland that we're not going to get hit. Now we've gotten hit with some bad storms with these hurricanes that hit the coast.
Yeah.
Actually, the worst that happened to us was a few years ago. I can't remember which hurricane it was. They thought it was going to come up the west coast of Florida.
Yeah, it took that.
The east
turn.
coast of Florida, and it took a turn and went up the east coast of Florida in the Gulf.
Yep.
And then literally came right up through Georgia into our area. And we had major flooding all around little towns that was washing out roads, bridges. And then
the flooding I could see.
our that was the worst wind. Our fence, I thought our fence was going to be torn away.
It was a little scary
Because we
watching
have
the
a
bend in the
vinyl fence, about a 6-foot vinyl fence around our property, and it was just.
Now,
I never seen.
Was that when you were traveling too, or was that the other storm?
No, that was the
where
other
You're
storm.
away, and I'm home with the kids, and it took that weird turn and hit us, and it
I
got
was
to the
here for
point
the
even
other storm.
Columbia, even though it's an hour and a half south of
Yeah.
us. The flooding that was happening there because of
It was bad. They
the
had people
coming
get
down
killed,
from
yeah.
the rivers, and the dams were overflowing, and
Yeah, everything
Now,
was bad down there. They were
Columbia,
shutting
South
off parts
Carolina,
of 95.
is a very depressing place to be.
I can't stand it. It's like a
I-
cesspool.
How far?
of
Wait a minute. How far are you guys from Columbia?
Hour and a half.
Okay.
hour and
Yeah,
15
when
minutes.
I was
15
there
minutes.
for Graham's his boot camp graduation, Holy cow! I was so sad.
Columbia's
nothing
a
there.
Columbia's a
So
weird place
sad.
because
They have a good zoo.
Columbia actually is, you got University of South Carolina down there,
Yep. Gamecocks.
and then you have the downtown's cool, and then there's a lot of really, like you said, depressed area. There's
It is. It reminds
a lot
me
of
certain parts of
farmland.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
But they joke around down here and they say that Columbia is built over hell because it's like it gets
Yeah.
so freaking hot in Columbia.
It's crazy what the
It's-
weather's like there.
It could be almost
It's like the Hellmouth in Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh,
it's like 10 degrees hotter.
That's-
he
that
doesn't
is.
know what that is, but
Well,
I do.
you're missing out. It's Sunnyvale is
Yeah.
Columbia, South Carolina.
Oh my
It
gosh,
gets
that's
really
pretty
hot. It's like there's a magnifying glass
Yeah.
over that. And like I used to go
Ugh.
to Augusta, Georgia. And Augusta, Georgia is another one too. You know, they have
It's brutally hot there.
because every year they have the Masters there, and
Yeah.
everybody's like, man, and it's, if you ever want to invest in a property, invest in a home in Augusta, Georgia, and then when, the Masters come into town, rent your house for the week, it'll pay your mortgage for the year.
Wow.
That's how much they go
Yeah,
for.
it's crazy.
But they, when you drive by the golf course, it's got all these big, fences and high trees. And they're like, oh, wow, they don't want you looking in. They're like, no, when people are golfing, they don't want to look out and look at Augusta because it's so gross. I've actually...
I didn't know that Augusta was. I thought because of the Masters.
I mean, we've always driven through.
Yeah, it was,
like,
I never know it was like a depressed area.
There's
Huh,
there's
that's
some
weird.
areas that are very beautiful. They have big, old plantation homes and stuff. But I was standing in a parking lot talking to somebody, and like the soles of my shoes were melting into the
Oh.
asphalt. That's
Well,
how
that's
hot it
hot.
gets there. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really hot in Augusta. It's not a very big place, but when I would stay down there, I'd get up in the morning, I'd grab breakfast and watch the news, and it was like someone was always getting shot and killed. There's always something
Yeah.
going on.
There's a lot of gang activity down here. I've had
Yeah.
patients who were detectives, sheriffs, and they would say if outside of Greenville, you really have to be careful because I was really shocked
Anderson.
with Anderson, what
Anderson.
gangs they have down here and the
Huh.
gun violence. And I was like, damn, I thought I left all that
Anderson, South.
up
That's where
north, and it is far worse down here.
That's where Daryl lives, down in Anderson. And Anderson is, when you go down to downtown Anderson, it's such a cute little town. It is. But I called on a doctor down there, and he's an MD-JD. So he's a doctor, and he's a lawyer.
Oh wow.
What's the JD stand for?
Judicial
degree or something, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
So he's sitting there, I'm talking to him about, anemia due to chronic kidney disease. And he's like, hold on for a second, I got to take this call. Uh-huh, yeah. Well, you can't go to your mama's house. And he hangs up and he goes, yeah, he's selling crack and got involved with the war between the Crips and the Bloods down here. And I'm like, a conversation I never expected to have in
Yep.
Anderson, South Carolina.
Yeah, that's intense.
Yep.
That's
Talking
crazy.
about the Crips and the Bloods. But
When I was pregnant with Gabby, there was a ring of people going around and kidnapping pregnant women, and basically they're like ripping the baby, inducing you so you go into labor, or like, and selling your children on the black market and stuff. Like my mom would call me like every day, "Are you okay? Are you locking your doors?" Like, and it was happening like in Bradenton and Sarasota County. Like all these women were getting kidnapped and like murdered for their babies.
that's
Like they were
crazy.
left for dead. And I was like, what the hell is happening
It's
in
just-
this world?
It shows you it doesn't matter if you're in a big city, if you're in the
Or-
north or you're in
yeah.
the south, or if you're in a small country town. There's going to be violence. There's going to be gangs. There's going to be hate. It
it's
happens.
everywhere. You
And,
can't get away from
No.
it.
as you
unfortunately.
said, you just treat everybody equal, treat everybody like human beings, and judge them by their character. And
Right. By their character. And if they're a piece of garbage, they're a
that's
piece
just
of
the way it
garbage. If
is.
they're not. That's just how I feel too. But like, I don't know. I try to be, kind and nice to everyone until they're not kind and nice to me. And then I just don't involve them in my life.
Right. Yeah, it doesn't matter. I mean, listen,
Yeah, but if you're out in public and like today, like Wyatt and I were at the food store and there was a little old lady and she was Hispanic and she like didn't speak very good English, but she was struggling to get some water off this top, like this bottled water. I was like, do you need help? And she's like, oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'm thinking, how many men just walked by and watched her struggling, and other women too, but like they didn't even like offer to help her. And I'm like, here, let me get that for you.
For some reason, when I'm at grocery stores, they all think I work there. Maybe because I spend so much time there. I don't know what it is. But they'll be like, excuse me, do you know where? And I'm thinking, I have a cart that I'm pushing full of groceries. Do you think I'm restocking?
That's because you wear a badge that says, hi, my name is Jennifer.
There are times that
and my public shirt.
I'll be at Home Depot and I'll interject my, there'll be a lady looking for
Kevin
something.
Purposely does
or
it.
she'll
I'm
be
not
asking,
purposely doing it.
she'll be asking for help from an idiot person that works there, and I just want to be like, what was it? Yeah, it's like, push the guy aside. I know more than you.
Excuse me.
Let me, and I have interjected like, okay, let me help
Kevin's
you
a volunteer Home
out.
Do you
Depot
do that
employee?
is that kind of like your Saturday routine? I'm going to go to Home Depot. What, are you going to buy something? No, I'm going to help people out.
Yeah,
You're like Sheldon in an electronics store.
I've done that at the ABC liquor store too on the cigars. Someone will be looking. You could tell they don't know. Lady. Like, okay, she's buying something for her boyfriend, husband, father.
Side job
and
of
then
a
they'll be
tobacconist.
looking, and then I'll be like,
why do you pay that much attention? I don't make eye contact.
So
I get in,
and
I
then
get out.
On that, they'll always go, "Oh, do you know about cigars?" And I always go, "I smoke cigars for a living."
Geez.
So I'll help
Now,
them out.
And they don't run away?
No, they don't.
They play with
I
his
don't
beard.
go to Walmart,
true.
especially not in my work uniform, because I have a blue Goodwill shirt. Every effing time I have ever gone into Walmart in my work shirt, they're like, okay, they just don't even like look at me. They're just talking at me. And I go, I don't work here. I have to like yell in their face, I don't fucking work here. And then I just keep walking. But they just keep talking like, you tell me what aisle that's
Jess,
where
that's your moment. That's your moment to treat people equally and just
No, I
Just say
go,
your number.
whether they're a
Just tell them the
Walmart
number.
customer or a Goodwill customer,
No.
treat them equally.
I don't work there.
and
I
Just
don't
say a
even know
number
where those
and
items
go
are.
on.
But I always just say I don't work here, and then I try to walk away. But then they're like, "Oh, you don't know where it is?" Well, no. I mean, I go to Walmart for very limited things. I don't know where any of that shit is.
Yeah, I
We
always
shop at Publix.
And here's the key: if you're ever at Home Depot, like I said, first of all, don't ever walk in with a list. If those employees see you with a list, and they'll avoid you like the plague. They don't even want to help you at all. So if you can't find something at the Home Depot, go over to the appliances and just open up a refrigerator. They will be on you like flies on shit. And they'll, oh, you looking for a fridge? Well, I'm not, but can you help me find this nail gun? And they're like, son of a bitch, you got me.
No.
So then they've got to find someone to help you. I'm like, gotcha.
What is your thing at Home Depot? You just said none of those people are useful. So
No,
why would you bring your list to anybody in Home
because
Depot?
sometimes I said that it's dumb that they can't find anything. Like the last time, not last time, a couple months I was looking for gloves. And I always thought and they always put them in those little boxes and they hide them throughout the goddamn
stupid.
store.
It's in
They're
like
on an
5
aisle,
different
at
spots.
the end of an aisle
And they're
somewhere.
5 different spots. So
Yeah,
I'll
there
pull
are
them
5
up,
different spots.
I'll pull it up in their app. Okay, it's on aisle whatever. So in that time, I went to the front and I'm like, hey, I can't find these gloves. I know they're on an end cap somewhere. And then they're like, oh, just the inventory must be wrong. But it says you have 500. Your inventory may be off by 50 at the most, not 450. So that time, and I've done that a couple times, I just place the order, right? I'll just go sit down. I'll go over to the garden center and plop down in one of the chairs and then just place my order. And then I'll just
why
wait,
don't you
and I'll
just
just wait for it to ring.
Okay.
And then I just go up front and like, you had those, did you?
So from now on, just
do it.
place the order.
Exactly.
Don't go in there.
Doesn't prove
I
a
think
point, though.
I think he wants to have.
He does. He's like,
No.
I need to have this
Exactly.
conversation with these people.
I
don't do
I go to
that.
Home Depot for confrontation. When people
Yeah.
ask me questions, I wanted them to get away from me. I'm like, "Where's your cock?" My wife wants a lot of cock, and I'm looking for your cock.
I
And
said
they're
that-
like, "Oh, aisle 5, thank you. I got to go over here. That's not my section." And then they leave me alone.
I said that once walking into Home Depot. This is going back a couple of years, and a guy at the front, hey, what can we help you with? I'm like, man, I'm just here for some cock. And then and I'm like walking past, I'm like, son of a bitch, and I said it.
See, I say it on
He does
purpose.
it on
Just
purpose.
I'll be like, I need a
Yeah.
lot of
That's actually
cock.
fun.
I need. I need. Do you have big cock? And they're like, yeah, aisle 5. I'm over here in lighting. So just go down there and ask someone down there. They'll help you. And I'm like, thank you for leaving me alone.
Oh my gosh.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
walk around with resting bitch face, and it does me fine in life.
Yeah.
People don't approach me. I'm good
Yeah.
with that.
I agree with you.
I don't want people to engage with
I don't
me.
even engage
I
you.
But
I
it's
don't.
just so funny how at work, and it really makes me laugh because my patients will tell me on how sweet I am, just the compassion. They've never met anyone with such tremendous compassion, and on and on and on.
I'm
And
going in for a
I-
study next week so I can get some of that shit.
And I tell them, I said, as when I go home, no one believes what my patients tell
I
me.
agree. Everyone at work.
It's
says
like
the
once
same
I
thing
leave the
about me.
hospital, the switch is turned, and
Carrie, you're getting a GI test? Yeah, I want some of that sweetness. I'm
Yeah,
looking at
yeah.
that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going in for a G. I'm going to go in for a cardiac test. I want some sweetness.
I know. I get compliments all the time at work from
Yeah.
customers and stuff, and my employees love me.
Well, you get lots of compliments on your Instagram too.
I know.
Apparently.
Yeah.
People want the video chat and all.
Want to chat?
Yeah.
Chat away.
You need to activate
Kitty
your
chatty.
OnlyFans page.
It's all right.
Get
I
it
just
going.
ignore
Make
that
some money.
stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
I'm looking at a deal
Listen,
customer. So.
I realized when Ronnie was trying to help me with my Instagram and stuff that he was like, "Oh, fine, like send me this type of pictures, whatever." I like posted maybe one like every other week, or it's taken me a long time. I do not post that much. So lately, I've been trying to post more, and he's like telling me I have to do that. And yeah, it's helped a lot and stuff. But I don't have the energy.
Did you
like,
double check
I was-
some of those hashtags because he
I
might
did
have
double
slipped
check
in
that.
like a titty
I-
city or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
in there.
Listen, I
Something.
went and even edited what I did want to put in there because there was some stuff that I was like, that's kind of questionable. That can go either way. But no, like all of a sudden, all this weird shit started popping up, and I was like, what the hell?
You're popular.
Even when
Face
Kevin
it.
gives me some
No,
some
like,
help
but
and
no,
ideas, and I double check Kevin just in case he wants to slip one in there and make an ass out of
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
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 But I've been posting like regularly ish for a while and putting hashtags, and none of that stuff ever popped up. As soon as I listened to Ronnie, all of a sudden that OnlyFans shit started popping up, and I was like, why?
Maybe
Why? So
maybe
I
we
had
have
to
like
go
a
back.
secret fan base listening to the show,
I
and since
think
we've been
so.
talking more about it,
Yeah, I don't know.
they heard
but I-
Kevin wants a toe in the butthole, and now they're trying to get this whole
It's
thing
all-
going.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's all. Did you not see that comment from that one guy, like about your beard?
No.
The only picture he commented, he had to go way back to find one of like me and you, not way back, but like one of me and you on my Instagram. And he was like, "Oh, like sweet beard or whatever." It was like, what the hell?
Yeah, the fact that he took the time to go through all your pictures to find that
Yeah.
one.
My
Yeah.
my second cigar I'm going into is the Corona
Candela.
Cigar Company Candela.
Ooh.
I haven't had that one yet.
They got something sweet going on in the tip.
Oh, really?
He does sweeten the tip on that.
Oh, interesting.
So I've got two of them in my humidor now, that I want to try.
No, it's nice. It's not overbearing sweetness because I'm not a
Is it like
Yeah.
a
all my
pineapple?
sweetness I get at home.
He gets plenty of sweetness from me.
I get plenty of sweetness from
more in
her
his cigars.
every 3 months when I get my GI test done. No, it's not overbearing, but it's pretty good.
Smells good.
I'm Candela. I want one of those hats that you have,
The
The
Mr.
Mr.
Candela.
Mr. Candela.
Yeah, that was from Sinistro. That was their cigar. Was the Mr.
Yeah,
Candela?
Mr. Candela. 'Cause
You
they
know,
have
was,
the
they
Mr.
had
The
that.
Red.
Mr. White, and right? Don't they have a
Yeah.
cigar called Mr.
Yeah.
White?
Yeah,
And
Mr. White, Mr.
Red.
Black,
Mr.
Mr.
Black,
Red,
yeah.
you know, so,
Is it
Yeah,
based
we
on the
did-
Reservoir Dogs? Or?
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Except they never had a Mr. Black in
No.
Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah, they
so-
didn't, but they have a Mr. Green, don't
Yeah,
they?
yeah, Mr. Gold.
You're
No,
Mr.
no,
No,
Brown.
Mr.
Mm-hmm.
You're Mr. Pink. Why do I got to be Mr.
Mr.
Pink?
Pink.
Yeah.
That's what.
That's
they
Mr.
did
Pussy.
Yeah, that was that was a good movie.
It was a
Reservoir
good
It was
Dogs.
an excellent movie.
One of my all-time favorites. I mean, I think I like Quentin Tarantino movies,
Yeah, I like him too.
I'm
not-
Kevin
I'm not
is
a
not
fan.
a fan.
and
I don't
I'd
like
say-
all his movies, but
I
that
gotta
one
tell
was
you,
good.
one of the best movies that I've seen in a long time, and I have to go back and think because I'm a movie guy. I just am.
We watch a lot of
I'm a movie
movies.
nerd. Was Inglorious Bastards.
That was fantastic.
That was a
Oh.
great
And
movie.
the
Yeah.
first 15, 20 minutes when he's in that farmhouse,
You're on your
I
edge
have
of your
never
seat.
seen a man create so much horror, terror, and
Mm-hmm.
fear without any special effects
Yep.
at
talking.
all. And Christoph Waltz is just scary in that moment because you can tell he knows everything and he's just toying with this guy.
Yeah.
Just completely. That is probably one of the scariest 15 minutes in cinematic history, probably the top 5. It really is.
No, I agree. I'd say I like his whole style and everything.
Yeah.
Kevin's not a fan.
I'm hit and miss. Same with like M. Night Shyamalan. But what was the movie? The last Quentin Tarantino movie that we saw, and it was
The Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
No, okay, no, that was the last one. One before that,
Hateful
they were
Eight.
like the bounty hunters.
Hateful
The
Eight.
Hateful Eight.
Oh,
That
the
was
Hateful
long.
Eight.
I never even watched the whole thing.
There's
of it.
probably about a good 40 minutes of them traveling that could have been
Horrible.
cut from that movie.
I didn't like it.
Yeah.
There was a lot of great, beautiful scenery,
Yeah,
just
but
moving.
it really could have been cut down to move it along a little bit faster, in my opinion. But I thought
Yeah.
the movie was great.
yeah.
So, what is your favorite movie?
That's tough.
yeah, I
That is
know.
tough.
That's tough.
There's so many different
ask
genres.
Notebook or freaking Waterhouse or what is the other one you like?
The Lake House.
Lake House.
No,
Oh, it's
there's all different ones though. I love period movies where, it's
That's nasty.
set back.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
The,
That's
exactly.
the Notebook is the biggest. The Notebook is literally the biggest
Now we're gonna have to hear
shit
about the Notebook
of
and
propaganda
the
against
man-hating
man-hating
movie.
movie. It literally sets women up for failure because the whole movie revolves around a woman who is doing everything that she can to better her situation, while a man does everything he can to win her heart.
Yeah.
Even at the end of the movie, where they're growing old and she forgets everything, and he's reading the
She has
Notebook to
dementia.
her. Yeah, but even then, he's got to remind her that he loved her because he had to prove it the whole fucking movie, and it is just the biggest.
Nicholas Sparks wrote the book.
I tell Joseph,
No.
like, listen, watch the Notebook. Don't do it.
Do the opposite.
Do the opposite.
No, I like
Because
all different types of movies.
He literally
though.
builds a house for her.
He
and,
does.
and that gets her attention after she marries a rich guy.
Yep.
Horrible.
Yeah. No, I watch all different movies. I do like, everything
Notebook.
from like the other Boleyn girl, which is based on obviously
Yeah.
Anne Boleyn, her
Yeah.
sister Mary. I thought that was a great movie. Great
That was a good
famous actors in it.
It's a great
And that-
range from the Notebook to the
I
Bowling
know.
Girls. What is she? Another rich
An old
scholar?
one?
I
No,
have a
Dangerous
huge
Liaisons. Fantastic.
Who?
Dangerous Liaisons.
Yeah,
from the
more
late 80s.
women. Yeah, more. I mean, power to the
I-
women.
I-
Don't cancel me. Power to the women.
I
I
do
am,
love all
like-
sci-fi movies.
Yeah, so do I.
Action.
I don't know.
So you have an eclectic taste. I have a very eclectic taste, but I also live for very like dramatic or documentary type, something based off real life movies. Like that's so like when I was younger and I watched The Color Purple.
Oh my god,
Like,
that's one of my favorites.
I
I watched it
love
recently.
that movie so much. Like
It is.
even like
it's fantastic.
Gone with the Wind. Anything that's like
Yeah.
got history and like storytelling and like somewhat of like some realness but document, like I just like dramatic type stuff,
I agree.
Kevin.
The Color
movies.
Purple
things
was
that have like
fantastic.
real meaning, serious like depth to it.
Yeah,
I love.
If you asked me on any given day, I'd probably give you a different movie.
No, I know what your favorite movie is.
As everybody's talking, I would say 3 favorite movies: Caddyshack, Ghostbusters, and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Yeah, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Yeah.
is a good one,
Great
too.
movies.
They
I
are.
But I
mean,
don't really
all
want
their
to
own
ever
rights.
pick a favorite movie because I would always say Breakfast Club to the day I die, probably, and that's like lame.
I love John Hughes movies.
I'm like just because I don't know. There's just something like so stupid about that movie that
It's
makes
very
it so,
80s.
Yeah.
It's just
It's so
like
80s.
It's such a
it is
great time.
100% 80s.
But it also shows you like just even today it might not be the same like thing like the jock, the nerd.
Kids this day
like,
would not understand it at all.
they wouldn't understand
no
it.
clue.
Because of
You
the
know?
whole caste system in a high school is
Yeah.
what it covered that, and everyone was in that detention, and
Yeah.
all came together, and at least
Yeah.
admitted that once we leave here, we're never going to talk to each other. Give me a break.
We're just gonna see each other in the
we're
hallway.
going to
and
see each
keep
other.
doing
Yeah,
what
we're
we
going to
do.
keep doing what we're doing because we're friends here,
Yeah.
but because we all have a commonality, which is this freaking. And you know what? How many times have you found yourself in that position?
Oh, tons.
You know,
Tons of times.
I mean, it's been
Even at a cigar lounge, like you go and you
Yeah.
think you might not have anything in common with someone, and then you have these great, awesome connections and conversations with people, that you might not really have anything, up front in common until you start digging deeper.
And then you see the guy at the grocery store like a week later, and you're like, hey,
Yeah.
yeah, that's it. Yeah, we're only friends there.
only friends at the
Yeah.
cigar lounge.
Yeah.
The
or
good,
at
the bad,
food
and the
store.
ugly.
Oh, the
Huh.
grocery
Yeah.
store. Sorry.
My
Grocery
dad
store.
was a huge Clint Eastwood fan growing up, so
He has
we
great
watched all.
movies.
Spaghetti westerns. I didn't
Well, that's
really,
just it.
I
That's
really
my
didn't get
dad.
into any Clint Eastwood's other movies,
No,
but just the
yeah.
spaghetti westerns.
No, my dad was huge on
Yeah.
westerns. We watched every John Wayne. I mean, I've seen them all.
My dad still to this day will
My
sit there
dad's a
and talk to me
war
about that.
watcher.
War
Yeah.
ones, yeah.
Yeah, War. That's my dad too. Oh gosh.
I think Clint
MASH.
Eastwood. MASH.
Oh my God, I
Mash.
grew up with that. We still watch it. We watched it on
Same here.
Hulu.
I grew up every night. We watched MASH every
Yep.
night.
My
Yeah.
dad and I would watch. We actually had a time where we would watch old MASH from 5:30 to 6:30, and then they would have reruns of like the newer MASH. I think at like 7, and then when it was still in syndication, then they had the show on at 8. So we would watch MASH 3-4 times a day.
We'd watch Barney Miller,
Barney Miller was great,
All
but
in the Family.
I think Kevin Habby. I'll ask you this, just because my favorite actor's in it. One of my favorite westerns. There's a couple out there, and they were just recently done. But Unforgiven
Unbelievable.
is
Yeah.
one of the best westerns. Not best Western Hotel, but one of
Yeah.
the best westerns ever.
I agree
Ever.
without a
Yeah.
doubt.
It's good.
Yeah.
The story behind it. I mean, I also look for like the meaning behind the movie. So,
Yeah.
I like watching the movie and letting it take me on a journey, and I don't try and guess what's going on.
I do.
I just she'll sit there and
He
go,
hates watching movies.
do you think
with
that?
me.
Do you think? I go, I don't know. I'm watching the same movie you're
I know,
watching.
I know.
She does that too. I'm
I
like,
don't do
you're doing
that.
like that. I just said I didn't see this before. We're watching it for the
First
first
off,
time.
Do you
I
think he
don't
did
do
it?
that.
Do you think that's
You
the?
do.
Kevin, I don't talk during movies.
You'll ask questions occasionally.
What are you talking about? I don't talk during the movie at all. I jump.
I ask
I get
questions.
scared when you make me watch fucking scary shit.
And then you fall asleep towards the end.
I fall asleep, but I don't talk during movies.
Pause is my favorite friend in
If
our
anything,
household.
you're the
yeah.
obnoxious
He's like,
one to
go
watch
ahead,
movies
just
with.
say it.
Yeah.
Do I seriously talk during
Sometimes,
movies?
sometimes you'll ask questions, and I'll be like, I'm here watching.
I
with
don't
you.
think so.
I hit pause all
I
the
feel like
time.
you're lying there.
Yeah.
All the time,
Yeah.
because it'll range from questions about the movie to just talking about shit.
Something else.
We'll
Whatever
be
pops
sitting there.
in my
We'll be sitting
head.
there like in the middle of the movie, and she'll be like, I talked to my mom, and she was telling me, I'm like, really, like right now in the middle of everything.
Do I do that?
Clint Eastwood has a gun in his hand. He's getting confronted, and you're going to tell me about your mom right
Yes.
now. Can it wait, or is it? If it's really important, we can talk now about it.
I'll occasionally pause it and be like, that can't happen, right?
Yeah.
Like there's
okay,
no way
so-
that car
So
jumps
maybe
like
you're
that far.
deflecting,
Yeah.
thinking I do that shit.
It's actually Kevin.
It's Kevin. I'm not kidding you. I'm like sitting here floored. Like, are you fucking for real? I'm gonna video next time we watch a movie.
Next time you guys watch a movie, you're going to
Hide it.
fight.
And you'll see this shithead pause the shit out of it and do this 3 million times. No wonder I fall asleep. It takes us 5 hours to watch a fucking movie.
To watch a
Jess's
90 movie.
progression of watching it. That's what I want to film. Jess watching a movie. So she's sitting up in bed, like sitting up, and then like 30
She
minutes
slumps.
in, she's like this.
Yeah, I passed
and
out.
then like another 30
I can't
minutes
watch
in,
movies in
she's
bed.
like this, and then I'm like, so occasionally I just go over and I go like this.
Yeah, and I go, I'm still awake.
Yeah, and then except last week the movie, and then
I fell asleep.
I did that.
Bonnie and Clyde.
Bonnie and
movie,
Clyde, I
yeah.
did that, nothing. And then like towards the end, like I'm fast forwarding it. She's like, "What are you doing?" And I go, "Well, you fell asleep." No, I'm just watching the pictures at the end. I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh, you enthralled in the credits,
Listen.
are you?"
I like went back and watched the last 10 minutes, and I was like, stupid.
Yeah, I
did
watch
not.
TV in bed. I'm out cold.
Well,
Jen-
see,
you
the-
fall
I-
asleep on the couch, and we're
yeah,
watching
we're
a movie,
watching
and I'll hit
TV.
pause and be like, "Do you just want to go to bed?" Huh? What? No.
Most movies.
No,
I'm
no,
fine
no,
with.
no.
No, see, he's not a couch person. Like I grew up. That's what we did. We watched
Yeah,
TV
you
on
watch
the
on
couch.
the couch. Yeah.
I think he sat on our couch like 3 times ever.
Yeah, I'm not a couch guy.
Yeah, he's not
And
a couch
we
person.
have
And
our specific spots
feel
as well.
the need to watch movies on the couch, but he wants to watch them in bed. Well, I'm going to fucking sleep. If once
Yeah.
I'm comfortable, that's it.
Yeah. No, I'll watch TV in bed, but it's pretty tough. But we got to do it on the couch. But Unforgiven still is the best. It
What
really
is it? 12 Seconds to Uma. What was that one movie? God, it's another Western type movie.
Oh, 310 to Yuma.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what it was called.
That was a remake. And that was
a remake. Yeah, but did you ever watch the original?
No, I never watched the original. I watched the remake with Russell Crowe.
Yeah, it was Russell. I thought that was good.
That
Oh
was
my
good.
God, it's
The
very
original,
good.
though.
Get God, I'm blanking out right now on the movie Open Range.
Not familiar with that
I
one.
don't know.
I'm a huge Kevin Costner fan.
Oh, so
Okay. Now I know what you're
I
talking about.
don't
I've
think
never seen it, but I know what
Kevin
you're talking
Costner and Robert Duvall.
Yeah.
Okay.
I gotta tell you something. Another just great, freaking fantastic Western movie. Kevin Costner's fantastic in it.
Yeah,
He just is. I mean, a lot of people don't like him, but
Really?
I love Kevin Costner.
Huh. I
I
wonder
think
why. I think he's done a lot of like versatile roles. In
people
his
always
career.
say he's not a very good actor, and I'm like, yeah.
What?
But I like
We
Field of
just
Dreams.
watched
I
him
like
in
Kevin
that
Costner.
Bonnie and Clyde
Yeah.
movie that they put out through Netflix.
Oh, really?
The Netflix original with Woody Harrelson.
Yeah.
They were the Highwaymen.
Oh, the Highwaymen.
okay.
Okay, yeah.
It was so good between the dynamics between the two
Yeah.
of them. The movie wasn't that great.
And
I mean, how many
was
Bonnie and Clyde?
Yeah, it was
movies
Bonnie
did
and
we
Clyde, but through their eyes.
But through their
Yeah.
eyes, but which was
So they're
really cool
chasing
because
Yeah.
it shows you like
I
how
think I saw that.
cult-like people
Sounds
were
familiar.
and like praising Bonnie and Clyde
Oh
for
yeah.
doing all the shit that they did. Like
Oh, yeah.
these people, when they died, like ripping, like grabbing at them and trying to like pull pieces of their hair and garments and stuff and touch them, and like it was
Yeah.
just this phenomenon like of these people like
It
protecting
was
them.
very weird.
It was very
weird.
strange, and like it was just neat to see like that part. But Kevin Costner, I mean, like, and Woody Harrelson, they're getting old,
Yeah.
but they played, I thought, those characters very well.
Woody Harrelson's a great actor too.
Yeah,
Like,
I like him too.
I love all sorts of movies. I'm a big sci-fi guy, so I do like sci-fi movies. But I do like finding like those, like, indie movies that are just kind of
Yeah.
like
Or foreign films.
Or foreign
We've
films.
Found some
I
neat
mean,
foreign ones.
Yeah,
if you want to see a
that's
great
why I
movie,
think-
watch Troll Hunters.
Yeah.
I've
You know,
never seen that.
I
don't know what that is.
I gravitate towards more sci-fi because it's the only movies that really I can't pick apart. Like I said,
When have we watched a sci-fi movie?
we watch all this like space sci-fi movies.
Sometimes we do.
Yeah.
But I watch everything on my phone. Like Kevin
Yeah.
is like a very rigid schedule of what he likes on TV. Very rarely do we ever watch a movie. We just don't. Like hardly ever. I watch all that shit myself.
We
'Cause
look at
he's-
what the new releases are. We have our series that we watch. We are
He
definitely a movie
Yeah.
series. And we like the binge watch series. So there's a couple that we watch that are just weekly releases, and it makes me insane. I'd rather
do-
just take a weekend and
Yeah.
power
We
through.
do that occasionally, like Nosferatu. We were really.
I
That's
love that. I
fantastic.
hate that they canceled it.
They
I-
did
Yeah.
end up.
Yeah,
They
Yeah.
did-
it's
they did
canceled.
cancel
That was
it.
a
Yep.
great
So
show.
Castle Rock, fantastic, canceled.
There's a
Yeah.
lot of great shows they canceled.
I love Nosferatu.
Now,
I think
Jess,
it's awesome.
Jess, you said you like movies that are based on fact and reality and stories.
Yeah.
Do you like war movies?
I do. I do like war movies.
Like,
I've seen a
Saving
lot of
Private Ryan and
Yeah.
Black Hawk Down.
Black
I've
Hawk
seen.
Down. If you ever get a chance to watch the movie Greyhound,
I
Yep.
did
We
watch
did- we
that.
watched
On
that.
Apple, loved it.
wow.
I thought
It was good, but I think
I was disappointed.
Really?
What?
Why?
Oh no, and for me, and then you Jess can, but for me, I wanted more of a story. I wanted a
Yeah,
little bit
that was
more of a
it.
backstory on Tom Hanks's character.
No,
I
I
wanted
thought
a
it was
back-
great.
I get what they did, and
Yeah.
that was incredible. It really was. It was fantastic. I just felt like you couldn't really connect with them as like people, though.
Yes.
You know, I understood what their role was, how difficult that had to have been, and how technical. But I didn't get any feeling. There was no emotion for me to connect
For the characters.
really to, except
Yes.
for when his feet, like whatever reason you kind of get a
Yeah.
glimpse into like that must have been grueling and just hard. But other than that, there just wasn't this there was no connection to any of them. Like the guy
Yeah.
with the sonar and stuff. Like,
But I don't think
We're-
they was meant to be, because you know what was really cool about that?
Yeah.
They developed a little bit of a character, right? A little bit.
Yeah.
Right.
Like they did in Saving Private Ryan. Just
Right.
just
Yeah.
a little bit. And they did more with Matt Damon and stuff like that. But what they did connect you with was just the average captain and
What was
crew
happening at that
with
moment.
what they had to deal with when they would escort these ships and the danger and the peril that they were constantly in.
yeah, no, and
That's
felt
for
that
me,
came
I
across.
blew me away. At the end, I didn't give a flying shit about Tom Hanks' character. I was impressed with that any captain had
Yeah.
to deal with that,
Yeah.
and literally having these U-boats that were just famous for just sinking ships.
I know.
And when you get to the end, it's like, well, you lost this many ships. Well done. You did a great job. And he's thinking, we lost, even losing one
lost-
ship in live
yeah.
is, and it was almost acceptable. I think it brings it to light as an educational moment for what they had to endure to get supplies
yeah.
over to England. And it's like a lot of folks, the younger kids nowadays, don't realize that.
Right.
War now is not the way it was fought back then.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
You
yeah,
had-
that
you had to
fight a
take-
war with a drone. At
You
this point.
you literally had to take tens of thousands of troops and just flood a beach
Yeah.
and know that, okay, if we flood this many troops with this beach and we drop, the airborne behind lines and they do XYZ, how many is an acceptable amount that we can lose, but we'll still be able to overtake
Right.
the beach? That's that's crazy when you
It
talk about
is.
the law of averages and percentages.
Yeah, I just think for me it was I just felt like I needed a little bit more connection. That was it. Like, it was so incredibly done. I just
I
felt
love
like
action
needed
in
that.
movies, and I thought that just
I
really
was on the
kept
edge of
you
my
on the
seat
edge
the
of your
whole
seat the entire
time.
time. Like after
Yeah.
the first
Oh
10
my
minutes
God.
of, him and his
It was
fiance,
fucking
from the
brutal.
moment that he started his,
Yeah.
voyage across the Atlantic.
We
it
watched
was
the movie
like-
Tank with Brad. I'm a big Brad Pitt fan.
Yeah, I like some of Brad Pitt stuff.
I think he's, in my opinion, I think he's a really good actor.
No, he's very
is.
diverse.
And he played.
The roles
If you ever did you ever see Tank?
No, I've never seen that.
Wow, just
That's a good one.
was it called Tank?
Fury.
Fury. That's
I
it.
was
No.
wondering what he was talking about.
That was the name of their tank.
He was in the tank.
And what's his
Yeah.
face is in it too. That he's a little bit of a flake, but he's a great actor who played in the Transformer movies. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
He was down here in South Carolina.
Shia LaBeouf?
Shia LaBeouf.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I love Shia LaBeouf.
He's
I
in
love-
it.
I know people hate him, and I love him.
He's a
You wanna come
fantastic.
say hi? Here, you gonna come here? Come and say hi. Come in. You can take Kevin's seat.
Is it
Here.
Wyatt?
Sit there, yeah. Put the
Nice. Put
headphones
that set
on.
on.
Here.
Hey, buddy.
He's
Say
got
hi,
his
put the
headset on.
headsets on
Sorry.
so you can hear them.
We'd rather have you than Kevin.
Say hi.
I'm not this old.
You don't think so?
Hey, Wyatt.
Hey, Wyatt, what's going on, buddy?
Nothing.
You
No,
know,
how are you?
You know, I have a son named Wyatt too.
Did you know Kerr has a son named Wyatt?
What?
There's two Wyatts.
Do I?
Two
Two
Wyatt.
Wyatts.
It's a Wyatt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does.
Yeah. You got to get ready for bed and go to school tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's
Yeah, where's
school.
Kevin going?
Work.
Say, get to work, Kevin.
Kevin goes to work.
Yes.
Are you
It
sure?
does.
And smoke cigars.
And smoke cigars.
It Can't go work. So
Kevin, go to work.
What is he?
Turk.
He's a Turk. Not a turd, a Turk.
Turk 182,
Get that
another great
Turk.
movie. Love it.
Exactly. Turk 182.
Turk 182.
I'm
He's
watching you,
watching
man.
him.
What's men?
Keep an eye on keep
I'll
why
go
why keep an eye on Kevin. He's
Did you
trouble.
hear, Kerr?
Yeah.
He's
Who's trouble?
Kevin's trouble.
Can't.
All right, will you tell Kerr and Jen good night?
Good
Good
night. Lovebirds.
night.
Love birds.
We are lovebirds.
Aw, thank you, Wyatt.
All right, come on, buddy.
Have a good night.
Say good night.
Good night, Chuck.
Turk 182. I haven't seen that in ages.
That was funny. He came in. I was like, "Oh, hey, buddy." He's like, "Move on, move right on in." He even leaned back in the chair.
Ready.
He looked way too comfortable in that position. I
What
was,
is
I was
it?
getting ready to ask him if he goes around to Home Depot and just torture workers.
Yeah.
What was it the other day? It was nighttime. He goes, "Kevin, you go to work?" He goes, "Yeah, I go to work right now." And he goes, "Ha ha ha ha!" Like, yes, like he's gone. It's like the funniest thing. So right now, Wyatt's obsessed with High School Musical, like the movie with Zac Efron. It's driving me crazy. Like,
I never
bet.
watched it.
yeah, no, don't watch it. It's super annoying because it's High School Musical.
No.
It's a musical with
I don't mind
teeny
musical.
boppers. Like, so Zac Efron plays basketball, and then his secret is that he can sing, right? And so Wyatt has told me and the kid's name is Troy. Zac Efron's character's name is Troy or something. So he tells me every morning, "I'm Troy. That's me." And I'm like, "Oh, that's you." And the basketball team is Wildcats. So he's like, "Yeah, basketball Wildcats." So that's what he wants for his birthday, is a basketball jersey that says Wildcats. So I ordered it. And he wants a basketball and a basketball hoop because he wants to be freaking
Nice.
Zac Efron, Troy in High School Musical.
As long as
So-
he doesn't want to sing,
No,
that's cool.
No, but he does. He tells Kevin. Kevin goes, "Hey, turn that down." He goes, "I'm singing. That's me. I'm singing." He gets mad. So he wants to be this guy because he also wants to kiss this girl that's in this movie. And I'm like, great. It's awesome. His birthday's April 6th, so he'll be 14. I'm like, okay, cool. We're going to be Zac Efron now. He's
Nice.
trying
You
to
can do a
grow his hair,
whole
and he's
High
like with his
School
hair.
He
Musical.
kisses some girls.
Oh, the girl that he likes at school, her name is Jill. He told me the other day, and I was like, okay. It's like, don't go kissing her because you'll get in trouble at school. You guys aren't even supposed to touch each other. Can't even breathe the same air right now. Don't do it.
If you're gonna kiss her, make sure you're wearing a mask.
Well, because he got in trouble. He told me he got in trouble at school. Apparently, in gym class, they were playing ping pong. So him and another student were taking the ping pong balls and shoving them down each other's pants. So he told me. So I texted his teacher and stuff and was like, "Hey, like, what's going on with ping pong balls and pants or whatever?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, they were being naughty and thought it was funny. Like they kept going behind each other, going whoop and like running away and stuff." I'm like, oh my god, my life.
That's funny.
So yeah. So, yep, ping pong balls in the pants.
What else would you do with ping pong balls?
I don't
I think, I think we did that in college.
play beer pong. I don't know. I mean,
No, I had a gym class in college, and one of the segments was table tennis. Believe it or
Table
not, yeah, ping pong.
yeah.
What do I know, man?
Fun.
But you know,
I
it's,
know. In college, we could do hiking as an elective to get like 2 credits. Hiking on the weekend.
I took a summer class, and it was called, going back to what we were talking about earlier, was called American Genre, the American Western Male, and our class was about watching movies, and we watched movies depicting the American, westerns, and we started off all the way back to Riders of the Purple Sage, and we read some books.
Oh, wow.
All the way through, and ended at that time, since I'll show my age, with Unforgiven. And how far things have come with the way that they depicted things, the Westerns back in those days, all the way to Unforgiven. And they were like, this is about as real as it gets, as opposed to a lot of these other movies where they're shooting and guys are dodging and doing all this other stuff. But it was a pretty interesting class because we got a chance to read a lot of the books and then the movies that they made based on those books. And it was kind of like a walk down memory lane watching some of those old movies, like you said, with John Wayne, with my dad. You know, whether it was True Grit or you know, Big Jake and all the other movies that he did.
So
Oh God, I just wanted to ask a quick question. I watch like a lot of these like based on true story type things on Netflix. Did you guys see Radium Girls? And did you even know that existed in New Jersey?
Of course I did. I work with radioactivity for the past 27
I didn't know
years.
That. That's so crazy. I had
and they're
no
still
idea
buried there too.
Yeah, you still use a Geiger counter.
The
still
whole history
pins.
of the movie was great.
Yeah.
The
really
cinematography
well
could have been
done.
better, but the story was awesome.
I thought they did a really good job because I watched it and then the book came in to work and I was like, oh, let me read the book. So I read the book and then I gave it to another coworker and then told them about watching that because the book was so much better.
Yeah.
But I had no clue.
It's crazy
that
what they
ever
went through.
existed.
Yeah.
Do you know what I told you about?
I knew the whole. I watched like a Discovery Channel.
Yeah.
Like
it was
an
crazy on
hour-long thing
the
on
Radium
that.
Girls and stuff.
Years ago, I remember watching something about, you know, I knew that they used the paint on the old watches and stuff, and I knew that there were like factories, and you know the big thing was the twirling in the mouth and them all getting.
But what I didn't understand was why they had to lick it.
Well, because it made the
point to a fine
on
point.
Why couldn't they just
brush.
use like a wet rag
So
to spin it?
some girls did, not
Well, that's what I'm saying.
not
Some girls
all
used
the
their
girls,
fingers,
but it was
it
was piecemeal.
Yeah.
You know, so they found, you know, as they're painting, you know, they could just easier.
I know because a lot of those, like one girl said, how if you do 200 pieces in a day, you make good money. Well, how many do you do? She's like 12.
Exactly. So the more they got out, the more.
It's like the difference between like a seamstress that'll take the thread
and put it
in your mouth and versus licking your finger. It's just kind of like habit, you know, what you do.
Yeah.
And even remember back in those days, there probably painting was very popular, and you still did a lot of licking with your paintbrush back in those days in order to get that fine fine
Well,
point.
it's like with lead and all that stuff. Yeah.
Oh my God! But we watched that movie, and I was like,
we also watched Tesla about. Tesla was good, and
that
then
movie
also
sucked.
Well, I like the historical component of it. Again, the cinematography part was not good. I just like more the knowledge part of it.
I think they got the cinematography.
Here comes an Edison man. Go ahead, Kevin.
But the movie about Edison, I thought was great.
Thomas Edison.
Hey, I grew up in Edison.
My great grandfather worked for Thomas Edison.
Yeah, he's a dick.
I've been
he is
to
not
the
a
Edison
dick.
Board,
Thomas Edison? Thomas Edison was a horrible man, a horrible person.
Joe played him in the Living Wax Museum and got an A on it.
Invent half the things that he is credited for. He didn't even invent the light bulb. He invented the carbon filament, and that was somebody else in his lab that invented that he took credit for.
Why are you yelling at me? I'm sorry that I was born in Edison,
Kevin's
New Jersey.
really upset about it.
The only thing you can credit Edison is creating Hollywood. And Thomas Edison created Hollywood because
he filmed the first kiss. He filmed the first kiss, which makes him a pornography guy. Know what Sheldon said on?
Yeah.
He sued everybody because he said he invented movie making. So they had to go to California, which was a half across the country.
The only thing I have against Edison is that he electrified an elephant. He did that.
He did a horse.
I
thought it was a horse.
It was a horse.
It was a horse in the movie. They shocked the horse
to
show that
doing the death penalty with
doing
electric chair.
Well, yeah, it was AC versus DC, but yeah.
I mean, whatever. I mean, everybody's probably stolen all those inventors, and there was a race too for certain things. They all took ideas from each other, and I mean.
Well, I mean, you probably could have that same argument between Steve Jobs and Bill Gates, right?
Yeah, of course.
Those
you
two
you would have
guys
to have
and
that.
Steve, who's he? Wozniak?
Steve Wozniak,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
he was the brains behind Apple.
yeah, you had
Yeah.
one guy who freaking was a better showman, and the other guy who
Yeah.
was not. But it is pretty interesting. I do like watching his movies, and I'll go back and check. And after we watch a movie, I'll research to see how historically accurate it was.
Yeah.
We'll even
Yeah.
Google during it and be like, what really happened when, kind of cross-reference
Yeah.
it as well.
Because she likes Tombstone, right?
Yeah.
Who doesn't
Oh,
like
it's
it?
so
you know?
inaccurate.
Yeah.
Val Kilmer, and
It's a great
Yeah,
movie.
it's a great
Where-
movie, but it's so
where
inaccurate.
I like, go back to Kevin Costner, I like Wyatt Earp, the movie.
Yeah.
It's more
Wyatt Earp
historically
is-
accurate.
it is more
It's
accurate.
more historically accurate to what happened, because I got a book about Wyatt Earp, and that's who I named Wyatt after. But I like the Kevin Costner movie a hell of a lot better. Now, yes, Val Kilmer's Doc Holliday was a little bit more charismatic than who was in Wyatt Earp. He played him. It was oh God.
Oh, who was it?
I never
Dennis-
saw either of them, so I don't know.
I know who it is. It's what's his face? His brother played Cousin Eddie. His brother played Cousin Eddie.
Quaid.
Quaid, Dennis Quaid. Dennis
Okay, yeah.
Dennis Quaid played Doc Holliday in Wyatt
Yeah.
Earp.
But I thought he did a great
Oh,
job.
he's fantastic.
But I do agree with you on. I don't like when they change it so much or they veer just to make it more interesting. It's like, well, if that didn't happen, don't put that in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
I
make,
hate it when they change the movie from the book
Yeah.
dramatically.
yeah.
But you have to realize they have to be able to keep people engaged. The book, you can't make a movie
No,
sometimes
no, no.
out of the book
And there's something,
in that sense.
and and then like what, I can't remember what the movie was. Like in the opening 5 minutes, like a character like dies. I'm like, oh, in the book he makes it all the way to the end.
Oh, see, that's
Why'd
weird.
you kill him off here?
Yeah,
and then
that's
the
weird.
worst, which one I never, because I'm not a big Tom Cruise fan because he's crazy in the whole Scientology, so I don't like Tom Cruise as an actor, and I never wanted to see the movie Jack Reacher, because I've read almost all the Jack Reacher
Right.
books. In the books, Jack Reacher is like 6'7", like 325
Yeah.
pounds, and then it come out, oh, Tom Cruise. Oh, Tom Cruise is 4'4", weighs 87 pounds.
He's a little
Jack
leprechaun.
Reacher, that's his persona. He walks into a room and people stop and look at him
Yeah.
because it's this giant. And then you got this little Tom Cruise playing this guy.
You just don't like him as
Yeah.
an actor.
Yeah.
He's a great actor, but he's a flake. I mean,
Yeah,
really.
yeah,
I mean,
I
I thought
think
The
he's a
Last
bad
Samurai
actor.
is an incredible movie.
That was a great.
But he's a flake. You know what? There's a movie. I read the book, and when I saw the movie, I was so disappointed in it. And it had to do with Lone Survivor. Lone Survivor.
I agree.
It documented. It was a movie about. I can't think of his name right now.
Chris.
No, that was Sniper. Lone Survivor was about a Navy SEAL team that was dropped into Afghanistan to spy on a camp, and they did not really like. They were kind of dropped in an open area while they were spying. A goat farmer, and a kid, kind of stumbled upon them, and they had a decision. Do we
Marcus Luttrell.
Marcus Luttrell, the story of Marcus Luttrell.
I didn't see that.
Now, Marcus Luttrell is not your average Navy SEAL. The guy's like 6'4", 220
Marky Mark
pounds.
played him.
20 pounds.
Oh, okay.
Marky Mark played him.
Oh, I did
Right?
see that.
Not-
I did see that.
not
I know
Marcus
who you're
Luttrell
talking
size.
about. Yes.
But what happened was, they had this decision, long story short, they tied up these goat herders and they decided to leave, and they just got overwhelmed by enemy forces. And everybody died but Marcus Luttrell. And then he was taken in by this Afghani tribe, and they had like 1,000-year-old law of, if you take someone in, you got to protect them. And they were kind of like, always, fighting against the Afghani, they'd come in and they'd want to take him, and they'd say, no. And then he was rescued. Well, this movie, the fight scenes and everything in the first part was pretty impressive because it was pretty accurate to what Marcus Luttrell had in the book on the bravery of how these men fought until the end. But then at the end of the movie, the little village that he was staying in got attacked by the Afghani army, and then he died, and then they brought him back to life in a helicopter. None of that shit happened.
Yeah.
None of it
that's
happened.
Shitty.
What ended up happening was he got rescued in the middle of the night, and they took him away, and he was fine.
Yeah.
But I was watching on Discovery Channel about this team that was preparing to rescue him, and a lot of these guys were National Guard, and they were preparing. And the whole story, as I'm listening to it, when you get midway through the story in Discovery Channel, I'm like, they're talking about rescuing this Marcus Luttrell. I remember reading this in a book, and in the book, you read how the helicopter lands, they come up, the guy raises his gun because he's dressed kind of in Afghani, garb, and he's like, Marcus Luttrell, yep, and he gets in the helicopter, they fly away. You don't realize that this guy landed on a ledge, that if he would have made one mistake, he would have gone off a cliff. And he used a lamp in a hut as a reference point as he was landing his helicopter.
That's crazy.
But in the movie, they created this big war scene, this big battle scene where he was getting shot, and it was so ridiculous. But
more for entertainment than truth, which is sad.
The book's pretty impressive because Marcus Luttrell's got a twin brother who actually was in the Navy SEALs too. And they're, Navy SEALs are not 6'4" traditionally.
Yeah.
But I mean, the whole movie, Marcus Luttrell gave the okay and the rights to do the movie, and he's actually in the movie in the beginning. But it's an impressive book, and I thought the movie halfway was impressive. The other half, I thought was just for shit.
What was the movie with the guy that played in Magic Mike? That played that military. We just watched it not long ago.
Oh, we watched it as well. The Extractor.
Yes.
No.
Where they go into the Middle East.
That was a Horse Soldier.
Was it Horse Soldier?
Well,
was that what it's called?
12
I don't
Horsemen.
know.
The 12 horse.
No.
Are you talking about Thor?
No, his brother.
No. This is another military movie.
It was. The bourbon is called Horse Soldier Bourbon, which is based off the true story.
Yeah.
But
what was it? What's that character?
But the guy who played Thor, they were like the initial troops that were dropped in Afghanistan, and they actually fought on horses.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know
these
which movie.
guys.
you're talking
Yeah,
about.
the horse soldiers.
Yeah, the horse soldiers.
And that was what's his face from Ragnarok. It was that was Thor, right?
Oh, that's
I
who it
think
was.
it
It
was.
wasn't
That
was
the
when
guy
he cut his
Magic
hair.
Mike.
Chris
It was
Hemsworth.
Yeah.
Chris
It's
Hemsworth.
Chris
That's who-
Hemsworth was in that movie.
I thought it was the other dude from Magic Mike. Whatever. They all pretty boys. that
Miley
go out.
Cyrus's ex.
Yeah. But so that was a cool movie. I thought that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I thought that was a really good movie, and it's again,
But I don't know how accurate the movie was.
Jeff Borshwood said it was pretty accurate.
Was it?
Yeah, he
Oh,
said it
okay.
was pretty.
I mean, I was pretty impressed by it, but I don't know that much about it, so I was like, I couldn't tell you the history or the events are more accurate.
like Black Hawk Down. I was surprised they made Black Hawk Down.
Yeah, we actually got to see the
Yeah, they're in North Carolina.
when we went to Graham and Fayetteville, and
they have the rotor blade.
the Airborne
Yeah.
That's
Museum.
neat.
They have the rotor blade, but a company found it. They extracted it.
Oh yeah,
from,
it took. They said like 10 or 12 years because that helicopter just laid in the desert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what's
The whole
crazy?
time.
What's crazy about that story is, that was a big foul up when Clinton was in office.
Yeah.
So I was surprised that they made that in Hollywood because it really depicts a really bad presidency and decisions. Back in my hometown, back in my area, there's a small town called Boiling Springs, and one of the snipers, Shugart, is from Boiling Springs, and they named the post office after him. He's one of the guys in the helicopter, and I was disappointed that they didn't highlight this more. But when the helicopter went down and they said there's activity, and they said Shugart and such are requesting permission to go down and secure the area. And he said, and the commander said, I want to talk to them personally and let them know what's going on. And he gets on the radio and he said, do you realize you're going down in a hostile area with a lot of hostiles? And they both said, yes, we're going down. And both those guys rappelled down. And the pilot who ended up living and was captured in the movie. They protected that helicopter and ended up dying protecting that helicopter. And they literally, that's like, for me, when I look at a movie, that part just grabs me because they both knew that rappelling down there that they're going to die.
That they were
They both knew it, but they knew that there was still an American, pilot down there who was alive, and they were going to try and secure that area. And both those guys did that selflessly.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah, it's intense.
Now, Kevin, you said earlier you're not a big M. Night Shyamalan guy.
I don't like the twist. I don't like the weird twist at the end of his movies.
We're watching a great series by him, The Servant.
Which one?
The
What's it called?
Servant.
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 So he's got a TV series.
Yeah, it's on Apple.
A few
Is it, or Prime?
a
It's
few years
season
ago,
2.
a few years ago, he started this production company where he takes these little stories that he would tell his kids, or these little short stories that he writes, and he gives them to someone else to make a movie, or they do a short story. Have you ever seen the movie Devil?
No.
Watch it sometime. It's when you read like the headline, it sounds stupid. It's like 8 people trapped in an elevator. One of them is evil, and you're like, really?
A whole movie of this.
Really, this movie, 8 people in an elevator? Like, you're in an elevator. You kind of pick out the bad guy. Great movie. Great movie.
It's always the end of his movies, and it's just like, oh, really? That was
some of his
that
movies.
was it,
I
eh?
love though. I love The Village. You didn't like it.
The Village
I thought it was
that
great.
was
I thought
dumb.
It was
She came out and
The
it's
Village
like
Idiot.
1995. Like, wait, what? This was that was it.
Yeah,
That
they
was
paid
the
people
whole-
not to fly over top of their village. Okay.
I thought it was a good movie.
Or The
I
Happening.
liked it.
The Happening was not happening.
The Happening. Oh
That
my
was
God!
horrible.
Swing away. What is that?
No.
No,
That
The
movie,
Happening.
Signs, was great.
Oh, Signs. Oh, not the
No,
Happening.
the happenings with the wind.
The wind.
That's
When
with
Marky
Marky Mark
Mark's
as
running
well.
through, and he's like, "Oh look, the wheat's moving. Let's run over here because the wind's going to get us." Because Mother
Is that the
Nature.
one where they made you crazy? And
Yes,
you
and
killed
you
people?
kill
Yeah, you
people
killed
and
yourself.
kill
What are you
Yeah.
guys watching?
Yeah.
Dumb movies.
What the hell is
Dumb
that?
movies.
Happening.
I don't know any of that.
Mother
shit.
Nature turns on humans and apparently,
Yeah.
Yeah.
create
I don't
something
like
that's
Scary
stupid.
movies.
It wasn't scary.
There's
But I don't.
no
is
such
it,
thing
if
as
it's
that.
is it a horror movie?
No.
I don't know what
It's
it's.
the
about.
horror-
What
the-
genre
the-
is it?
That's like the
stupid.
Cell.
It's M.
The
Night
cell phone
Shyamalan.
one.
That's the genre. When you say M. Night Shyamalan, someone should immediately say, "Ooh, what a twist!" That's the kind of the.
Some of his movies are really great. And then The Happening, I would put that in a genre of, or the horror is that I spent money to go see it. Because it was a terrible movie. It
Yeah,
really
we've
was.
We've seen quite a few.
And I
bad
really
ones.
wanted to see what he did with the Airbender, but I really don't want to
I've
watch
never
his
seen it.
movies.
What do you mean? You never watched the Airbender?
I never
I watched
saw
the
it.
whole cartoon series,
No,
so I know.
watch the movie. It's great.
Have you seen it?
It's
I've
fantastic.
seen the
I
Airbender a
just
few
watched
years
it with
ago.
Wyatt like 3 weekends ago. It's so good.
But
Never
then,
saw it.
I don't know, man. It is
I-
What?
the
I don't know how
last couple of
close
his
they
movies
The
kept
just really
Airbender
depressed me.
cartoon and the movie are very similar.
yeah.
It's very similar.
It
You
was-
don't you didn't watch it either, Kerr?
It was a long time ago, but the reason why I didn't watch it is he was kind of in that rut of like producing like The Happening and The Village.
Yes,
and
and
all
No,
the other
it was
stupid
it was
shit.
good,
all
but I will
those-
tell
yeah.
you, it leaves you hanging, and there's nothing else to watch after that.
Yeah.
They don't go and do another movie. It leads into to do another movie.
Well, he started off with The Sixth Sense,
Yeah,
and then he did,
which I love.
and then he did Unbreakable, which is one of my favorite
Unbreakable's
movies.
fantastic.
Okay,
The trilogy of
Unbreakable-
Unbreakable, Glass.
Fantastic.
So did you watch the? I didn't watch the next one. Was it Glass or the Unbreakable?
Well,
The second-
it was that one. It was Unbreakable, and then after Unbreakable, I think he did Signs or The Village, and then he did Signs. I like Signs. I thought Signs was fantastic.
good.
And then he did like The Village, The Happening, and then he did Split.
Split, I thought it was excellent.
Split was incredible.
Yeah.
I must have missed
But
that
then
one.
Split kind of left that door open
Yeah.
for Mr. Glass, which Unbreakable, Split, and Mr. Glass are a trilogy that
They're
are
all
really good.
intertwined. And
Oh,
it
okay, I
has
didn't know
that-
there was.
it
I didn't
has
know there
that
was one in
action
between
movie
Unbreakable and
superhero.
Glass.
Yeah,
Okay.
Split is where James McAvoy, who's an incredible actor,
He's awesome.
is in that movie, and throughout the whole movie, and then at the end it ties in Unbreakable,
Yeah.
and then he comes out with Glass, which I thought was a good movie. I thought it was
Yeah.
good. I thought Split and Unbreakable were incredible.
Okay. So what happens in Split? Where does that pick
Okay.
up?
That's a lot of information.
Split's a different story, but
Oh, okay.
but the end of the movie, you got to wait for the credits. The whole credit thing.
Yeah.
It kind of ties in Unbreakable, and then Glass ties them all together.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it's not like a
Yeah, once you get to
part
Glass,
two of Unbreakable. So
yeah,
it's a
what-
different
Just
story.
watch
when you're
it.
watching it, you're literally like not even thinking about Unbreakable until the
Oh, okay.
end, and then at the end you're like, oh, okay, and then Glass comes out and brings them all together, and it's pretty interesting how he did it, but I kind of got down on him after Village and The Happening, and what was The Lady in the Water?
I thought The
that
Lady
was
in the Water
dumb.
was good. I liked it. I had it on DVD.
It should stay there. It's terrible.
I tell you the best series of movies where the ending was the best was what was the I was just right on the tip of my tongue. All the weird deaths, how people die, what was the
Destination.
Final Destination.
Final Destination?
The first one was great.
The first one was great. Now, have you ever seen the? Okay, so I tell everybody, watch the first one, then watch the last one. I jumped out of my seat on the last one. The final
I never
15
saw
seconds of the movie blew me away. It was
Really?
because it started because there's like what 8 of them, whatever it was,
I don't
7 of
know.
them.
I think there's like 4 or 5 or something, right?
I don't know. Yeah, but it rounded it completely. It was the only series where I was happy at the end because it brought you all the way back to the opening credits of the very first Final Destination.
Really?
Because I
Wow.
watched
And it
the
was
first 3, I think. Because I think
Yeah.
the second one was like the lumber truck.
No, that was the first one.
No, the first one was the airplane.
Oh, yeah, the airplane. Okay.
The second one was the lumber truck, and it always freaked me out because down here we have lumber yards, so
Yeah.
I'm always around those lumber trucks.
Yeah.
And every time I see them, like Final Destination 2, because it's like I'm waiting for those freaking logs to come flying off the damn
But
thing.
I'd say if you ever, I said just the ending was just it'll blow you away. It'll just be like, oh my god.
I'll Google
You just
it.
sit back and you're just in awe.
I gotta check that out.
Of it was the only series ever that made a complete circle, and then you're happy. They're
Tess
like
doesn't see him.
series that you're always, but then you're like, I'm content. I can walk away from this series and never see another one, and I am happy.
Because the first one was cool, and then afterwards I was like, okay, I get it. There was
You-
there was a tragedy averted, and they're all gonna
Yes.
die in some fucking crazy way.
And that's the way all of them were. How,
Right.
how gruesome can the deaths become?
Right.
Yeah.
And it was just the same story each movie.
Yeah, no,
No.
hard pass.
But yeah, watch the final one.
pass?
I think the final one is
I'm
just
not big
called
into scary
the
movies.
Final
She
Destination.
didn't like scary movies.
I don't.
We
at
got
all.
Gretel and Hansel, and she refused to watch the end
It
of
got
it 'cause it was
really
scary.
freaking creepy, and I'm like, I'm good. I went to
But
bed.
I don't like the. I mean, like the fake horror, like it and all that stuff. Whatever, it's fake, so it's fine. But like ones that could be possibly true, like
You want to see a
no,
fucking crazy movie?
no.
For me personally, I thought it was crazy just because, like you said, there's some horror movies. I'm like Jason. I go watch him and go, okay, great. He's never gonna die. I get it. I'm not a big fan of the whole possession movie. Like The Exorcist still scares the shit out of me to this day.
I love that movie.
It
I
just
think it's
does.
A great old movie.
And The Exorcism of Emily Rose I thought was interesting because it gave you a perspective of the possession religious side and then also the medical side. But a movie that I thought was just, in my opinion, was freaky was Frailty.
yeah.
What is that?
I have to agree with that.
Frailty was Bill Paxton's first movie he directed. And it's got him, Matthew McConaughey, Powers Booth.
Yeah, great cast.
And when you start watching the movie, you're like, oh man, like I can picture like crazy people just going around killing people, but there's a little bit of a crazy twist to it, a supernatural twist to it, but it's a great movie.
There's this one movie that I watched where it was based in, it's true story in Australia, where this guy was basically getting like tourists and stuff, like picking them up in like their Aussie area, like where I guess it's out in the middle of nowhere, the outback areas, and then taking them back and like doing all these like horrific things to them. And finally, the only reason why this story ever came out is because a person escaped, but they could never find where this guy was located because it's so far in the outback. But like, it fucked me up. Like because that shit can happen. Like,
oh yeah,
all of that shit, like Saw, all that stuff. Fuck that.
That's why Kevin locks all the doors, including the bathroom door, when he's home.
That's right. You never know when
Yeah.
Steve Zahn's going to come by and steal you.
Yeah.
I just don't watch those movies. That's how I can sleep well at night, and I function fine. The few times I've ever watched stuff like that, I'm terrified for life. Like, forget it. Like, that's it. I'm scarred. I cannot watch realistic movies like that. I know this bad shit happens in the world. I don't need to watch it. I don't
or
like
the story
it.
behind it.
Yeah, I don't want to know.
Yeah, some of those movies I'll watch, it's like, yeah, there's some really crazy people out there that really believe this. Like, they're truly insane.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
We watched this series that they canceled, another one they canceled.
Mindhunters. Loved it.
And it was the it started off with the history of the FBI on how they did profilers, and how they deemed the term serial killer.
They did 2 seasons on
so
Netflix.
they did it based off of interviews of serial killers, and they had these characters where the guy's like, yeah, I had my therapy session, and the co-ed's head was in a box in my front seat, and her body was in the trunk, and we talked about some things, and then I went home afterwards and I cut my mom's head off, and I had sex with her,
dead
her no, he had her like esophagus from where he cut off her head. He's like going in these great details, and you're going, and then you realize it's real. The guy really fucking did that shit.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He's not wearing a hockey mask. He's not chasing around half-naked co-eds. He really went home and cut his mom's head off and had sex with her esophagus.
That's the shit you shouldn't watch, Kerr. That's the fucked up shit that you cannot watch.
It's like,
I can't.
It's
but
crazy.
In Florida, there's one of the highest amounts of serial killers.
Yeah, because they all come through here. That's where they get caught.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like,
they all end up in Florida.
They don't start here.
Well,
they end up there in the retirement
if you look
communities.
it up, there's a lot of serial killers that were
there
here
was
that
one
killed
recently, like last year, or I remember seeing on the news.
That was a couple of years ago. In freaking Florida, I still can't believe that they still don't they didn't put the rest of the family away. Was when that little 10-year-old girl, James Cooey.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They went to the house
I know.
and interviewed the family, and they freaking covered for him. Yeah. And that little girl was buried just right outside their trailer in Florida, buried with her fucking stuffed animal.
I know.
It's
like Casey Anthony's story with her daughter, with the little girl.
I'm sitting there going,
that was crazy.
How the hell? And they were like, yeah, well, we were going to bring up charges with the family of, what do you mean you were going to? Lock them up. Lock them all up. As far as I'm concerned, freaking sit them on each other's laps and pull the freaking switch on the freaking Green Mile. Yeah. Freaking don't put any freaking water on their freaking sponge. Flip that switch, baby. Let them all fry.
Yeah. That's the stuff that gives me nightmares.
Now, speaking of series, did you guys get into Project Blue Book?
Oh, that was good.
You were watching.
I'll tell you my problem with Project Blue Book. 2 problems, and one is actually not a problem. I'm a big UFO guy.
Oh yeah.
And I was really intrigued because when I was a kid, when you guys weren't born, back in the 70s, there was a TV show called Project Blue Book.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It was an old TV series. It was kind of like the old Cold Chalk the Night Stalker series that was when I was a kid that ended up basically the X-Files, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm like, wow, they redid Project Blue Book. I watched the first couple episodes and I was hooked on it. And then our effing the Amazon stick, I would play it and there was no volume to it. So I tried like 5 nights in a row trying to watch the show, and I couldn't get volume, so I gave up on it.
Oh, it was actually, it's pretty good. We don't know if they're coming out with
It was good. The second season took a little bit more of a cinematic role of where they strayed a little bit further from, the UFOs and the researching, and then they kind of took it into a story,
See,
which got just a little too far out.
Yeah.
No, but they also tell you when something is like a fact or when it's not. Like,
They always did that at the end. I remember the original series. At the end, it would tell you if it was dismissed, if it was what it was, or if it was fake, or if it was unsolved.
right.
Yeah.
So I started watching it. The first couple series, I thought, man, I'm glad it's back. I mean, Project Blue Book is a real thing. You know,
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
and I was really excited about it. And then I couldn't get volume, and then I was like, "F this! I'm just gonna watch freaking reruns of Frasier."
The second season actually shows a little bit more of like the paranoia too that was happening. Because they thought they were being followed by different agencies. I mean, there's so many factors going on at this time.
The Men in Black, the whole thing.
The Men in Black and all that stuff. So like, there's a lot happening. Like he was taken by Men in Black at one point. So I don't know. And then like the one guy's girlfriend's a secret undercover Russian agent.
See, we got to get through storyline and shit. I love you. I watch UFO documentaries all the time.
We watch them all the time.
She doesn't. She doesn't like them. I'll watch them.
I don't care.
We watched one the other night on Bigfoot, and then I remember at the very beginning, she looked at me. She's like, "You really don't believe in Bigfoot, do you?" And then you're like halfway through, like, "Yeah, I could see this happening now." Like halfway through it,
right?
You were like,
no, because of their theory.
Yeah.
That's because I never heard it explained that
yeah,
way.
yeah.
And this is the first time we watched something, I think, where they actually, it's not like kooky, like, oh, someone's looking for Sasquatch. Like, obviously, there's so much out there that we don't even know exists.
Right.
You know, and
the abominable snowman and freaking, up like
Loch
the.
Ness.
Well, not Loch Ness Monster, but like when you start hearing the stories of Bigfoot, but then also in the Himalayan mountains.
Yeah.
Right.
And that shit, I watch that stuff
But in
too.
the forest, like even out in like Washington State and stuff, I mean, there's so much dense forest and stuff. Like they don't even know what's in there half the time. So
Chupacabra.
but they started breaking down
the
like,
Jersey Devil.
Like I know the Jersey Devil, but they started breaking it down like how is it man? Is it ape? Is it this? Like what could it have? It could be and stuff. I just found that interesting.
The dude in the monkey suit.
Yeah, and that's it. And I told you that story the other night. Steve Saka has that story. He's like, when you said, do you really believe in Bigfoot? And I'm like, well, Steve Saka sums it up perfectly. And he goes, every year, there's a goddamn skunk that living under my shed or near he goes, I see the signs that he's there. I can smell him, but for years I've never seen him.
Yeah.
But I know this skunk is there.
Yeah.
I have the proof. And he goes, and it's a skunk. And he goes, why can't?
Yeah, and
why can't the Sasquatch be there?
So I mean, I don't believe or not believe. It's like one of those things where it's like, it doesn't. Yeah, I could take it or leave it type thing. But
I like the UFO movies. I do like movies. I like the movie that they did about the guy who was taken. D.B. Sweeney was in it.
I don't remember.
I can't. Fire in the Sky.
I haven't seen that one.
It was based on the story of the guys who were lumberjacks, and they were working late one night and they saw a ship, and one guy was literally knocked down by a blue light, and the rest of the other guys split.
I like Close Encounter of the
and he went missing for days, and then he just shows up, and everybody thought it was a big hoax, and they actually all went through and did lie detector tests and all passed, and to this day they still talk about it on what happened, and he talks about his memories coming back to him and how he was on his craft and he was kind of probed and cut into and all this stuff. It's really interesting when you see stuff like that. That movie, I think, was probably closest to what the real story was. You know, because if you ever see Fire in the Sky, the movie, and then you look at the documentaries about Fire in the Sky, the police at one point thought that they killed him and disposed of his body and made up a story because one of the guys on the lumberjack crew had a criminal history, and then one day he just like calls from a payphone.
Like, hey guys,
that
can
reminds
you come
me.
pick me
It
up?
reminds me of the story, and
More or less.
it was either in Michigan or the Upper Peninsula, and guy went missing, went out for a hike or whatever. They found his tracks, and it led out snow-covered lake, and his tracks went out to the middle of the lake. That's where the tracks ended. Backpack was there, all of his supplies were there, but no footprints going out anywhere else. And then a year later, driver driving down the road 1,000 miles away picks up this guy that's dazed and confused, and then they find out that's the guy. And it was like,
and he has no
and
memory
he has no,
of...
and then it was and I think it was the same thing. He started to recollect being on a craft or something, and it's been a while since I heard the story, but yeah, they picked him up. And
it's like that show that we watch where the airplane went through some kind of storm.
Oh yeah, that was a great series too. Flight
828 or whatever.
Yeah.
That was it. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Is it based on a true story?
No, they're
There's things that I think they pulled
from different stories. Because watching
Right.
that series, it's like, okay, so that's like a little clip from like this true story.
But
and-
showing
Gotcha.
how they're all connected. I don't know
Yeah.
if that's coming back because that
Yeah.
still hasn't finished.
I remember seeing that, advertisements for that.
It's a good show.
But
It's a little.
I can't
it's
believe you
got
don't
a
like
little bit
Signs,
of
Kevin.
religion.
What's that?
I said I can't believe you don't like Signs. You don't like the movie
Signs?
Signs.
I don't know.
'Cause that
It
ties
just
in
got-
the
it
whole
just got
crop
it just got
circles and
hokey.
shit.
It just got hokey, I guess. M. Night Shyamalan. I don't.
It's a great movie.
It's what a twist.
Joaquin Phoenix and Mel Gibson in that movie, the chemistry and
Is
it's
it
just
Joaquin Phoenix that got you? Is that what?
No,
ruined
I
it
like-
for you?
I like
do
Joaquin
you? I like
Phoenix.
him.
I don't like
Some
he's
people don't like.
fantastic. He's
He's
great
such
in
a
that
great
movie.
actor.
I don't know. It's the alien at the end. I don't know. I'm just not.
With the water.
Yeah.
Swing, Meryl.
Swing away, swing away.
away.
Swing away. And so, I think we should end it on
Swing
away.
swing away. So I'm Kevin.
I'm Jessie.
I'm Kerr,
I'm Jen.
and we are.
Nope.
Oh
Bullies.
shit! I'm sorry.
Do it again.
Well, Kevin screwed me up with this quick, abrupt ending,
I know.
and I'm like trying to
That's how
get.
good shows end.
I'm
I'm Kevin.
I'm Jessie.
I'm Kerr,
I'm Jen.
and remember,
Bullies
make
make
good
good
friends.
From Kev, Jess, Kerr, and Jen, we are the Broadleaf Bullies. Thank you for joining us, and remember, bullies make good friends.